हेलो। यूट्यूब पे आवाज आ रहा है ना? हेलो।
कोई एक प्रथम के रूम में जाकर
हेलो। यूट्यूब पे नहीं आ रहा आवाज, ऐसे कैसे? रुक रुक। अभी आ रहा है?
कौन सा लैपटॉप
बहुत ही हो रहा है। हेलो। अब यूट्यूब पे आ रहा है?
Hello. Hi, who's this? Rahul, can you hear me?
Hi everyone.
Hi, who's this? Rahul. Hello, Rahul. Am I audible? Rahul, I believe the viewers have to join via a link. So, are you a speaker?
Yeah. Sorry, can you come again?
Hi, who's this?
Yeah, this is Rahul from Isha Foundation actually. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. You're the ambassador for Safe Soil.
Yeah.
Okay. Rahul, currently we are going to start with the introduction. So once we are done with that, we'll just give you a call and you can join the meet. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
Mic check, one check. Mic check, mic check. मेरा ही मेरा. Mic check. चलेगा. I think the sound is fine, right? Mic check, 1 2 3. Mic is on.
अभी एक और
years ago, in March, the nation and the world at large came to a standstill. Bustling roads were empty, quieter hospital corridors now packed, and supermarket shelves deserted. The otherwise bustling places were now uninhabited. Life had taken a turn no one expected. COVID had gripped us, and our big egos were now squashed by a virus so small the naked eye could not even see it.
2 years hence, as we stand at what we hope to be the end of this pandemic, our hearts are filled with nothing but dreams and optimism. The lockdown taught us so much, and with that came a change within every one of us, a renaissance.
On this note, we begin with New Think Tank. I am Rotaractor Anushka.
And I am Rotaractor Hitayati Mori, the Professional Development Director and President-elect of Rotaract Club of DYPSPB Satellite City.
We have begun entity, but let us tell everyone what it exactly is about.
Next Think Tank is an online event hosted by our club. The Rotaract Club of DYPSPB takes pride in sharing a platform with influential people to share their stories and experiences amongst the youth. It is also a professional development initiative.
Through the words of the speakers, we aim to influence those around us. Save Soil is our cause partner. The Save Soil movement is about bringing humanity together to keep the magic of soil alive. Most of us are familiar with words and concepts such as climate change, carbon emission, air pollution, and water scarcity. But very few of us have focused attention on soil. For millennia, life on Earth has been sustained by a thin layer of fertile soil on the Earth's crust, which is now facing destruction.
Now, we'll have one of our ambassadors from Save Soil to share a few words with us. The speaker will be joining in 5 minutes. Till then, we hope every one of you have joined, and please encourage your friends and family to join. We request every one of you to go and fill the attendance form so that we can keep a record. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, clearly audible.
Hi.
So we would like for you to share a few words on this movement.
Sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Sumit, and I'm a volunteer with Isha Foundation. I'm here to present a presentation on a Save Soil movement. Yeah. So, can I directly start with the presentation, or like we have to start after a while? Should we directly? Can I directly start with my presentation, or are we starting it later?
Yes, sir. Please go on.
Sorry, you are not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Please go ahead. The platform is all yours.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just a minute. Yeah. So, do you guys know what is the biggest threat to our lives? Is it a global warming? Is it climate change? Or is it a meteor that may strike our Earth? Well, we don't know. A meteor may or may not strike our Earth, but the way we human beings are operating, one thing is definitely going to happen, and that is soil extinction. Yes, and that is the biggest threat to our lives. President of the club, officials, and all the members, fellow speakers, good evening. My name is Sumit. I'm a volunteer with Isha Foundation. So let me tell you a few facts. So the top soil of Earth contains millions of organisms, and United Nations says that soil is going to get degraded, going to get extinct in next 60 years. And as a result of this, we will be left with sand, and this will lead to food shortages. By 2045, we are estimating that we will be having 40% less food than that we have today. And at what cost? We will be having 9.2 billion people who will be against each other for this food. So before going ahead, let's understand what is soil and what is soil extinction. So the top layer of earth that contains organic matter is called as soil. So the soil organic content ranges between 3 to 6%. Whenever it is less than 3%, it is not good for the soil and the crop. So when this content goes below 3%, we call it as a soil extinction. We all have heard of dinosaurs going extinct, but we have the possibility of soil going extinct. So what are the reasons behind it? What can we do for it? So there are many reasons, such as use of chemical fertilizers, then agricultural practices which are harming the soil. And let's focus on consequences of it, because that are more severe. So the clear consequence is food shortage. As I already said, we will be having 40% less food, and once that is the condition, everywhere there will be hunger, there will be malnutrition, people will be against each other, there will be violence, civil strife, and whatnot. Yeah, so by now you may be thinking, what can we do? What is that I can do now? Like, can I go into my garden and let's work on my plant and let's regenerate soil? Or should I call my uncle from my native place and tell him like what can he do in his farm? Or should we let's get together and go to the farm and let's do something, let's meet farmers? Yeah, these can be the solutions, but the issue here is these are short term and limited in extent. We want something long term. We want something which will have longer effect. So for this, here comes the Save Soil movement. So Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, a spiritual leader, founder of Isha Foundation and Conscious Planet, has launched Save Soil movement. So here we are trying to address the issue of soil extinction holistically. The Save Soil is aimed at policy change. Here we are trying to garner support of every section of the society. We are trying to reach at least 3 to 3.5 billion people, and that means 60% of world's electorate. And if that happens, every elected government will have to bring the policies and laws to save soil. And what will happen once this happens? So the entire government machinery and the funding of government will work for us. They will work every year after year to bring the change to save soil. We will have recommendations, we can have incentive, we can have laws and regulation to bring out the change. So this is how we want to tackle this issue, top-down approach. So at this point, I would like to show you a video by Sadhguru, which will explain this issue in much deeper level. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
We are talking about climate change, carbon emissions, and global warming and various other aspects. But we are not addressing soil. Soil is the habitat upon which zillions of lives thrive. Once there is no richness in soil, then you have forsaken the planet in many ways. Every responsible scientist in the world and the UN agencies are clearly saying we have only 80 to 100 harvests left. That means approximately 45 to 50 years of agricultural soil left on the planet. By 2045, we will be producing 40% less food than what we are producing right now, and our populations will be 9.3 billion people. The food shortages that could manifest in the next 25 years, the consequences of that is unimaginable. Civil wars will unfold across the world once there is food shortage. What we are facing now is soil extinction. Why is soil becoming extinct? Where is it going away? What is happening to our soil? We must understand, if you add organic content to sand, sand will turn into soil. If you remove all organic content from the soil, soil will become sand. In normal agricultural soil, the minimum organic content should be between 3 to 6%. The most minimum is 3%. At least this minimum to keep the soil alive, to keep the soil as living soil is a must. Agricultural soils across the world, the depletion is so heavy. In most countries, more than 50% of the topsoil is already gone in the last 100 years. The nutrient levels have dropped significantly. The level of micronutrients you would get from your food in early 20th century to what you are getting from the same food now has dropped 90%. If you ate one orange in 1920s, what you got from it. Now, in 2020, if you have to get the same, you will have to eat 8 oranges. This is what we have done to our food.
Soil is the biggest ecosystem on the planet, and so few people know anything about it. 1 teaspoon of healthy soil probably contains more microbes than there are people on Earth.
The microbial life in the first 12 to 15 inches of topsoil is the basis of our existence. It is this magic beneath our feet which has produced the life that we are. These first 12 to 15 inches of soil is the basis of life for 87% of life on this planet, including you and me.
We have to begin to recognize that what we call soil, Mother Earth, is a living organism.
Open soils, ripped open by plowing, open to sunlight, is the basis of destruction of microbial life. So the focus should be in agriculture, the focus should be on seeing that land is under shade as much as possible. Some kind of shade, grasses, herbs, bushes, trees. Conscious Planet is launching Save Soil movement to bring about a policy change to regenerate soil. As a part of this, I'm 65 and I'm riding 30,000 kilometers, a lone motorcycle journey, 30,000 kilometers across 24 nations to activate support from the citizenry to assure the governments long-term investments will be appreciated. So it's extremely important that soil regeneration is enshrined in the policy of every government on the planet. We must change the narrative on the planet that soil is a wealth, a legacy we have received from previous generations, and we have to pass it on as living soil for future generations. We are in a cusp of time. If you do the right things now, in the next 15 to 25 years, we can significantly turn this situation around and regenerate the soil. But if we allow this to progress like this for another 30 to 40 years, after 40 years, if we attempt this, then it could take 150 to 200 years, because that much loss of biodiversity would have happened. From 21st of March for 100 days, the whole world, every human being on the planet should talk soil. So we must hear the word soil, save soil everywhere, to see that the narrative on the planet changes towards the most vital aspect of our life, the soil. Each one of you should reach as many people as you can to make this happen. Many global leaders and influencers are already participating in the movement. Be a part of this and let us make it happen.
For my part, as much as I can contribute.
We're going to save the soil. Do your part.
And saving the soils.
Our future, our children's future, our planet's future depend on it.
Save the soil.
We know what we must do, so let's make it happen.
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 I hope this video has made everything clear what this is all about, and you must be definitely thinking what we can do now. So before we go ahead, I would like to tell you an analogy here. I would like to quote Benjamin Franklin, the great scientist here. In his words, you will observe with concern how long a useful truth may be known and exist before it is generally accepted and acted on. I would repeat. You will observe with concern how long a useful truth may be known and exist before it is generally received and acted on. So I'll tell you a story. It is known for hundreds of years that lead, the element lead, is poisonous to human body and to the environment. Still, in 1920s and 30s, scientists started using lead in the fuel of cars to increase the fuel economy. And it continued for decades. And the same lead through the car's combustion engine went into the atmosphere, and it went into our lungs. Today, it exists in every human's body, in our lungs. And the lead acts as a calcium in human's body. It mimics calcium. It stays there and keeps poisoning our body again and again. And it happened in 1920s, but it took 1986 for the first country to enact laws to ban the leaded fuel and the cars. Thereafter, other countries followed. So I'm saying it took 60 to 70 years to act on a fact that was known for hundreds of years, and it was harmful for us. So this is the time to act. So now I'm coming to you students, like what you can do here. So I would like to share my screen again. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, clearly visible.
Yeah. So this is the website of Conscious Planet organization. It is consciousplanet.org. Once you reach here, you will get to know everything about Save Soil and what you can do. So what is the basic thing you can do? You can be a foot soldier of this movement. What do we mean by foot soldier? So here you have understood that basically we are trying to create awareness. We are trying to reach maximum number of people so that we can garner people's support. We can create a pressure on policymakers so that they can bring the policies, they can bring out the laws, and we can tackle this issue. So you can register yourself as an earth buddy. We call it as a Bhumitra in Hindi or Marathi. So once you register yourself as an earth buddy, you will regularly receive updates. You will receive educational resources on your WhatsApp that you can share to the others. So you can share that with your friends, families. You can keep it as a status, Instagram, anything, Twitter. So that is what we want. We want to spread the word. That's why we want you to register as Earth Buddy. So this is the first thing that you can do. Second thing is, once you go to the consciousplanet.org, you will see this screen. So here you can see that you can write a letter to our leaders. If you click on that, you will get an option where a ready-made letter is there about this movement. You can edit it if you want, and thereafter you can send this to the ministers who are present in Delhi. You can send it directly to the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. You can also send it to the Minister of Agriculture. So that option is available there. You can mail your letters. Second is you can talk about soil on various social media platforms. And third is you can take a pledge. You can pledge your support. So this is the second method. And there is one more method. There is third method. So some students may want to contribute more. They may want to give more effort to this. So they can go to consciousplanet.org/students. So once you go there, so you have to sign up here. You have to click on pledge your support. There you have to register your name, your college's name, your email ID, everything. Thereafter, what you have to do, you have to watch a video of 30 minutes. Once you have to pay attention, what exactly is mentioned. So there, everything is there in that video. What are the reasons? What are the causes? What are the consequences? What you can do? What everyone can do. Based on that 30-minute video, there will be one quiz. Quiz will be of 22 questions. You have to get 60% of the questions right. So once you pass the quiz, you have to share this message with your students, with your friends, with your family members, everyone. And you have to get them registered as Earth Buddy, which you had done in the first place. So you have to get a minimum of 10 people registered as Earth buddies. So once you complete these 3 steps, we will consider this as equivalent of 10 volunteering hours. So once you have it is done, you have done 10 hours of volunteering effort through these 3 steps that I have just told you. You will be issued an online certificate on the website itself. You can download it here. It will have your name, your college's name, and the date. So that will be helpful for you if you want to. So this is the major thing that you can do. So I would again like to tell you, we are at cusp. If we act right now, in next 15 to 20 years, we can reverse the situation. But let's say if we act after 20 years, it will take another 150 to 200 years to reverse the climate change, to reverse the soil degradation. So I would like to urge you again, save soil. Let's make it happen. Thank you.
It's such a lovely initiative, to be honest, and it is one of the very important things that we need today, considering everything that we are facing, be it soil destruction or pollution. So you explained it very well, and it's a pleasure that you decided to collaborate with us and become our cause partner. Honestly, we couldn't have asked for anything more meaningful to add value to our entity. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Now that we have gathered all the motivation, here we have Rotaractor Karthik Prabhakaran, the president of Rotary Club of DYPSBB Satellite City, to address the crowd with a few words.
So first of all, a very good evening to one and all present over here and in the YouTube platform as well. So I, Rotaractor Karthik Prabhakaran, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all in this platform of Next Think Tank. And it gives us an immense pleasure to host this initiative. First of all, it's a platform wherein we get to learn about what the speakers have to say, their journeys, their experiences, and their motivational thoughts. So especially we as an institute-based club and as students, we are very much looking forward to what the speakers have to put forth in the speech. And everyone is very much excited to learn about the experiences that they have to share. So it gives us an immense delight and a sense of pleasure to host this initiative. And we have an amazing line of speakers scheduled, along with not to forget the panel discussions which we have. So I request everyone to stay tuned till the end and to enjoy the initiative, to take some learnings to their home and make the best out of it. So thank you so much everyone for being a part of this initiative, and we extend our heartfelt thanks to all the speakers who could make it for the event and who have agreed to share their motivational talks with each and everyone present over here. So thank you so much everyone, and we hope to have a wonderful time with you all. So now I'm going to go over to the MOCs. Thank you so much.
With that, we'd like to welcome our first speaker, Anamika Sandhu.
A social worker, a motivation speaker, who has founded Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Beti Ko Social Se Bachao, an organization striving for the welfare of children in Punjab. We will shortly have a speaker on board with us. We request you to fill the attendance form till then and drop your views on our entities so far. The attendance form link is pinned in the chat box, and make sure you follow.
यहाँ लोग अनेक पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून है। यहाँ लोग अनेक पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून। दिलों के हम है नेक, जरा आजमा के देख, एकता है उमंग और उसी का गुरूर है। छूना है आसमां चाहे रोके जहां, एक साथ हाथ थामे खड़े हम हैं एकत्र 3-1-4-2। दुगना साहस दुगना जुनू, जब तक है सांसें साथ चलो। यहाँ साथ अनेक पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में एकत्र जिसमें एक ही जुनू है। दुगना साहस दुगना जुनू, दम तोड़ने तक साथ रहो। जज्बा है एक पर जज्बा है एक, जिसमें एक ही जुनून, जिसमें एक ही जुनून। दिलों के हम हैं जरा आसमां के देख, एकता है यार उसी का जज्बा है आसमां चाहे जिसमें एक साथ दिलों के हम हैं जरा आसमां के देख, एकता है और उसी का छूना है आसमां चाहे जहां एक साथ हम आसमां है जब तक है सांसें ना रुकेंगे कदम जैसा के शीशे जिसमें दिखना साएंगे जब तक है सांसें साथ हर जज्बा है दुगना साहस दुगना आसमां के एकदम साथ जज्बा है जिसमें जरा आसमां के एकता है और उसी का जज्बा है आसमां चाहे
Looks like our first speaker is stuck with some work. Here we have a second speaker, a communication expert of PR marketing. Sumitra Sarkar boasts an extensive portfolio in media industries. He brings to the table an unparalleled understanding of public relations with a master's in class of mass communications from SMU and more than 8 years of professional experience in advertising and PR. Currently, he's leading the people to function at India's fastest growing advertising agency, Chimpanzee Inc., where he is instrumental in creating digital workplace corporate solutions. He's also the head of strategic philanthropy and community relations at India's first art-led community called as Chal Rang De. It's a pleasure to have you on board, sir.
Oh, I have to unmute. Sorry, I did not unmute and I spoke so much. Okay, so I was just telling you, don't call me sir, just call me Sumitru, is enough. Since we work in an ad agency, we have this culture of unity and inclusivity. So I really don't call my boss even sir. So we call by name, and that gives you more a healthy relationship with your colleagues. Well, I would like to thank Rotaract Club and Nirali Bhansali, who had introduced me to Hitarthi, and Hitarthi invited me to this panel, and I'm really fortunate and very humble to join this and to talk with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Sir, it's always a pleasure.
Okay, so to talk to you about my journey is it's a ride. Why a ride? Because I have not born and brought up. I was born at one place, but brought up across the country. And that gave me an opportunity to meet the various diverse culture that we have. I grew up in 6 cities across India. I was born in Calcutta to a very middle-class family, and both my parents, like mom and dad, both were working, and they used to work in government jobs. That is most secured, and it's most safest job that anyone can have. And that's why we always hear that, government job kar lo, government job kar lo. Well, government job is good, but private mein there is more satisfaction, I would say. But government job has security. Then my mother got transferred into Indian Army, and she was serving in the defense from 2000, and I was very small back then. And then we moved out with her because since she had to get transferred to various places. And so I was just wondering that day, very recently, that I don't remember my friends from standard 7th or 6th. It's because I changed my school so many times, and then the last school that I did not change, I remember everybody. But previously, earlier schools, I don't remember most of them. And there is something, I don't know, it's very absurd, and it's very common in defense kids, common with defense kids. And because we travel for 3 years in a place, and then we shift to another location. It is like not just a neighboring location, but across the nation. That was my growing up. I'm on a call, I'll just come. Sorry, that was my boyfriend. Okay. Then my adolescence, which is the crucial part of anybody's life. It is the most safest zone. I really miss, people used to say that, बड़े हो गए तो पता चलेगा कि बचपन कितना अच्छा है. But बचपन में ऐसा लगता था कि यार कब बड़े होंगे, इतना पढ़ाई करना होता है, इतना मतलब सोचना होता है कि about future, about doctor बनना, engineer बनना and all of that bullshit. तो अब मैं जब बड़ा हो गया हूँ, and when I've come at a middle age, I'm starting my middle age. So I think that then I realized that Bachpan was the most safest and coolest place, because back then you don't have to realize घर पे खाना कैसे लाना है, targets कैसे पूरा करना है ऑफिस में, partner को खुश कैसे रखना है. There are a lot of things that you have to deal with, that is life. And so my adolescence happened in a city called Pune. We got transferred from Kashmir and to Pune. Pune was back then it used to be very very beautiful. अभी बहुत भीड़ बढ़ गया है. पहले बहुत अच्छा था मतलब बहुत बारिश होती थी और बहुत द टेम्परेचर यूज्ड टू बी लाइक किलिंग. जो बैंगलोर का अभी है उस टाइम पे पुणे का बैंगलोर का अभी भी है, पुणे का भी नहीं है. सो we moved to Pune and पुणे में मैंने 9th 10th 11th 12th and then first year second year third year किया. Then I started working. I started working at a very young age, which helps you. I would always suggest you all to start working at a very early age, because that will not just give you experience but also give you I don't know how will I say it gives you this strength somehow, because people who start late, they like MBA कर लिया, उतना और एक डिग्री कर लिया और एक डिग्री कर लिया, उसके बाद तो I mean बड़े पोस्ट पे तुम्हें मिल जाएगा. बट जो वो छोटे पोस्ट का स्ट्रगल है, दैट इज लाइक अमेजिंग. लाइक इंटर्नशिप करो, उसके बाद इंटर्नशिप से तुम्हें जब ड्यूरिंग और इंटर्नशिप इफ यू गेट कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स, इफ यू गेट एन अप्रेजल, is the most beautiful thing, because बड़े पोस्ट पे तो you obviously will get, because you have reached to that place somehow. So I started interning when I was in my first year, and I did quite a lot of internships in Bombay and Pune both, because Pune was closer to Bombay and Bombay has the industry, like you call it ad industry, you call it film industry, you call it production, everything is there in Bombay. So I started moving to Bombay, and then Bombay led me put me through that gateway of exploring everything. Then I realized that I need to do mass communication, which was pretty much sorted. My family wanted me to become a doctor, and because of that I took science and I took PCMB. I was in CBSE board. I took physics, chemistry, maths, biology, all of it. Why? I still realize I don't know why. Now today I realize that वो tan theta or all of those mathematics derivables कहाँ हैं? Where am I using them? I don't understand that. So one mistake I did was taking mathematics, because for sure I knew that I was not getting into engineering, because medical के लिए mathematics is not required. I took biology. I was good in biology, and then I gave all the entrances. IIT को छोड़ के I think I gave all of it, because IIT तो मतलब let's not waste money type. AIPMT, all of them I gave, and then but I somehow knew that I'm not becoming a doctor for sure. But अगर parents का मैं सुन लेता और थोड़ा focus कर लेता, शायद मैं doctor बन सकता था. But I would not have been very satisfied with that choice, because that is not something that I wanted to do. That is something that my parents wanted me to do. So I stuck to my plan, and there was no plan. So then my mother realized that कुछ तो कराना पड़ेगा इसको, and graduation is very important. And I did my graduation in mass communication, which actually helped me understand कि okay, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at talking. I'm really good at communicating. Then I started understanding what are the communication tools. How do we understand communication? Because communication से पहले we had only literature, and literature में उतना jobs है नहीं, because you either become a teacher or a scientist, or no, not scientist, researchist, and you just invest yourself in that one particular subject. But thanks to the education system that we got, we were allowed to have a different scope, which is mass communication. And today there are so many things that are coming. Content creator is a job today. Back then we did not know that content creation could be a job. We knew filmmaking is a job, we knew ad making is a job, but content creation was never considered to be, it was not even there. And but today people are getting into, when I ask these young kids, they say I want to become a content creator. It's like, wow. And they have money. They're like, there's a lot of money in that. It's not that कि हाँ वहाँ पे भी competition है. Everywhere there is competition. ऐसा नहीं कि सारे doctors बन गए तो सारे successful और सारे करोड़ों में कमा रहे. There are very few who you recommend for a heart surgery. Not all. Okay. And same goes with all kinds of field. If you talk about ad agency, we talk about communication agency. We talk about any kind of industry, like the retail industry, telecom industry, everywhere it is there. The competition is there. Then I realized that, communication is something that I'm really good at, and I would like to do this. So I started doing my graduation in mass communication from International School of Business and Media, Pune. And with that graduation, we were supposed to do internship after every semester. Otherwise you will not promoted to the next semester. So after first semester, I did an internship with an event management company. Then second semester, we were taught journalism, so print journalism. So I had to do an internship at a print journalism space. So I did an internship at a magazine called Citadel. That was Pune's first magazine under Magna Publication, who makes Stardust and those magazines in Mumbai. And I was a writer there. But I was not, that was the internship. So I did events management. Then I became a writer, and I wrote 2-3 stories used to come in every month. I did an internship for 2 months. Then they give me a job also as a freelance writer or a part-time writer. So I had to deliver only 3 to 4 stories every month. And that was in my first year college. Then third semester, which is your second year, we learned electronic media, which is TV news and all of that. Then I did my internship in CNN IBN. Now it is CNN News 18. It was a very difficult way through, because we had to wait. I had to wait for like 1 month to get that internship, because there's a waiting. But I did it, and with my best friend from college, we both did it. It was in Bombay, and exposing yourself to the industry at a very young age during your college, because when you are in a college, you do the practicals, and you go to the field to understand, okay, what happens exactly making a story. You get to know an enhanced experience that I got. Then after 4th semester, I think it was film production, so I had to do an internship at a production house, and I interned at a serial called Balika Vadhu. It was very popular on Colors. तो वहाँ पे मैं 2 या 3 महीना था. The production house was called Sphere Origins, and I was assigned some duties, because major duties तो देंगे नहीं interns को, and that gave me an exposure to the entire industry of TV and production. कैसे बनता है, क्या होता है, पूरा देख लिया. Then I realized कि okay, ये भी नहीं चलेगा मुझे. Then 5th semester में PR पढ़ाया. Then I really liked it. Something that got me, excited to do more and more. So, and I was, something that you really like doing, you will excel in it. Definitely. Kuch bhi ho, going to the space also, if you like doing it, you will go there. Is as simple as that. That is my success mantra. You enjoy doing it. It will take you somewhere. And if you're lost, that if you know that it's not happening, there are so many boys and girls, young students I see, and I ask them, what are your plans? They're like, we don't know. We really don't know, because there are so many things happening today. But that's your opportunity, because आज तुम graphic design बन सकते हो, animator बन सकते हो. हमारे time पे वो सब नहीं था, and we couldn't even think of getting into them, because उस time पे उतना उसका awareness नहीं थी. But today we know that if you become an animator, if you are like good at that job, you can go places. Just being an animator, even just being a flight steward, you don't have to be like thinking कि अरे क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा. जो होगा, whatever you think you're good at, take that things up. If you think that you're good at styling, take up a styling course and do it. Don't waste your time at doing graduation, post graduation, MBA. Start doing it. That is what I had done, because I knew somewhere कि मुझे मेरे पास उतने सपोर्ट है नहीं, मुझे उतने मिलेंगे नहीं जितना मैं चाहता हूँ. I also wanted to study. मैंने घर पे बोला भी था कि अगर मुझे आप लोग चाहते हो कि MBA करना है, I will do my MBA only from outside India. इंडिया में तो मैं नहीं करने वाला, because I was scared कि यहाँ पे बहुत रैगिंग वगैरह होता है. And that was the condition I gave to my parents कि अगर मैं डॉक्टर बनना हो तो मैं बाहर से ही बनूंगा. एंड देन दे रियलाइज कि नहीं इतना पैसा नहीं खर्चा करना है, ब्ला ब्ला जो भी है. एंड तो मैं बच गया. तो दैट वाज माय गेट अवे फ्रॉम दैट सिचुएशन. समथिंग दैट आई वुड वांट you all to follow is that जब लोग बोलते हैं ना कि follow your heart doesn't know what it is, what it wants. It will always change. आज तुम्हें आइसक्रीम पसंद होगा, कल तुम्हें चाय पसंद होगी, परसों तुम्हें कुछ और पसंद होगा. So it will always change and change is only the constant. That is very true. वो चेंज आता रहेगा. आप आज कुछ करोगे, that does not mean कि तुम्हें वही चीज करना पड़ेगा पूरी लाइफ भर. Do that till it gives you the maximum satisfaction. And then get over with it. Move to the next job. Like sometimes I think, how about I change my job and what will happen? I can if I want to. Till the time I'm saturated, I'm done with this profile. And I'm not, I'll continue doing this because there is no end of success and there is no end of learning. You can do both of this endless. I think that is all.
Truer words have been said.
I spoke so much. I think people got bored.
No. I am sure, sir. A lot of us. I had one question for you. What are your thoughts on current LGBT community? Like, how is it? Is it developing, or how can it take a turn in India?
LGBT community. Okay. I'll tell you a quick, nice story of my life. I can relate to only my life because I can't talk on behalf of the entire community. That is not cool. When I realized that I am from the community, my coming out to myself was at a very young age, and that time, जो आज का time है, completely different था. Back then we were all of us closeted. आज के दिन में there is like a lot of people who came out, and that happened only because of India legalizing 377, and which helped people to come out, be normalize the entire thing. इससे पहले नहीं था. When I was in my teenage, it was not like this. We were like, अरे बोलना ही नहीं है, किसी को बताना ही नहीं है, ऐसा था. पर आज के दिन में it's just so normal. Like everybody is coming out, and which is, if I don't think they can relate to my story because they know when they are at 15 and 16 and when they know that, okay, I'm from the community and I'm just this, and they're vocal about it. We were not vocal about it. So that is the difference I can tell you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure listening to you, and we are really grateful for you giving us your time throughout your busy schedule.
Most welcome. I'm really sorry. I was out. Actually, I was driving. I have come to this place called Pahad Stay. It's in the mountains. And this is something that me and my boyfriend opened up recently with a cafe and with a partner. So whenever we were just coming here, I saw your call and I was like, oh shit. आज मेरा call था 5 बजे and just realized I'm really sorry.
No, sir, it's all right. It's totally all right. Don't worry about it. It was a pleasure to have you, and thank you for taking us through a walk of your daily life and your thoughts on it. It was a pleasure to have you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and you're most welcome. Please, all the best to all of you. Keep doing the good work that you all do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Next in line, we have our very own speaker, Anamika Sandhu, a social worker, a motivational speaker who founded Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and Beti Ko Shoshan Se Bachao, an organization striving for the welfare of children in Punjab. And do we have you here?
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Sat Shri Akal, Namaskar.
Namaste. Thank you so much for joining in, and we are just waiting to listen to your story.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, dear. Yeah, myself, Anamika Sandhu. And I'm from Bachinda, Punjab. And I'm the founder of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao और बेटी को शोषण से बचाओ, है ना? एटलीस्ट ये जो है हमारा ये पंजाबी में है, बेटी बचाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ, बेटी नो शोषण तो बचाओ, है ना? शोषण वर्ड्स मीन अब्यूज्ड, जो चाइल्ड सेक्स अब्यूज होता है उसके खिलाफ एक आवाज उठाई है। और आप ये मान सकते हो कि पंजाब में मैं शायद पंजाब में मैं पहली लड़की हूँ जिसने बच्चों के साथ जो शोषण हो रहा है वो आवाज उठाई है। एंड दिस इज माय साइन, माय लोगो, राइट? You can see, right?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. It's very beautiful.
Have you read the Punjabi?
No.
so ये जो लाइन्स हैं ये पंजाबी में लिखी गई हैं। बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ ਅਤੇ बेटी ਨੂੰ शोषण तो बचाओ। ये जो साइन है, दिस इज माय लोगो। ये जो लोगो आप देख रहे हो इसमें एक लीफ है और साथ में एक वुमेन बनी हुई है ना? तो ये मिक्सचर है कुदरत और औरत का, right? And this is my name in golden words, right? So that's it. Hanji.
So, ma'am, if you would share your story on how so far you have come a long way towards this entire initiative, it would be great.
Yeah, my story starts from my place Patiala, right? Punjab. So मेरी जर्नी स्टार्ट हुई पटियाला से। जैसे मैं पटियाला सरदार फैमिली से बिलोंग करती हूँ, पंजाबी हैं, जट हैं, राइट? सो 8.5 और 9 years की थी जब मैं विक्टिम रही हूँ चाइल्ड सेक्स अब्यूज की, जब मेरे फादर ने ही मेरे साथ अब्यूज करने की कोशिश की। एंड उसके बाद लाइफ की जो स्ट्रगल होती है ना, स्ट्रगल क्या है वो स्टार्ट हुई है ना। जो मैंने ये मिशन बनाया है, बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ बेटी को शोषण से बचाओ, इसके पीछे क्या कहानी है वो आज मैं आप सबके साथ शेयर करती हूँ, है ना। तो 1987 में मेरा बर्थ हुआ। सो 8.5-9 साल की थी। हम 3 सिस्टर हैं, ब्रदर कोई नहीं है। तो 8.5-9 साल की थी जब मेरे फादर ने मुझे अब्यूज किया 1 साल तक। उसके बाद जब मैंने आवाज उठाई है ना कि मेरे साथ गलत हो रहा है, जब मुझे पता चला कि नहीं ये चीज गलत है ना, और मेरे फादर मेरे साथ ये चीज कर रहे हैं, तो जब मैंने अपनी मदर को बताया तो मेरी मदर ने जब आवाज उठाई तो हमें वो घर छोड़ना पड़ा। हमने घर क्या छोड़ा, सब कुछ ही छोड़ना पड़ा। जितनी प्रॉपर्टी थी, जितना पैसा था, जो घर में सामान था, सब छोड़ दिया, है ना। एक बोल सकते हो कि जैसे कल मदर डे है ना, तो मदर डे के ऊपर हम बोलते हैं कि हम माँ का कुछ मतलब माँ हमारे लिए बहुत कुछ करती है, लेकिन मैं सोचती हूँ मेरी माँ ने जो किया है ना वो कोई माँ नहीं कर सकती, है ना। तो मेरी मदर ने हमारे लिए सब कुछ छोड़ दिया। 99 में हम बरनाला आ गए। पंजाब के अंदर ही है, पटियाला के साथ है बरनाला, जहाँ पे मेरे ननिहाल हैं, है ना, मेरे नानी जी मामा जी, वहां पे हम आ गए। तो वहां पे मैं स्टडी भी करती थी इन 8th क्लास, और मैं ट्यूशंस भी पढ़ाती थी। और क्लास में मुझे मेरे जो क्लासमेट्स थे ना वो चिढ़ाते थे, अच्छा तू तो टीचर बन गई। लेकिन उनको मेरी मजबूरी का नहीं पता था कि मैं 8th क्लास में पहले खुद पढ़ती थी और फिर किसी के घर जाती थी उनके बच्चों को LKG और UKG की ट्यूशन देने के लिए, राइट। और वो दिन भी देखे हुए हैं। और उसके बाद मतलब पढ़ाई में मैं बहुत इंटेलिजेंट थी, पढ़ने का एम था, लेकिन पैसे नहीं थे, है ना, पढ़ाई करने के लिए, है ना। तो 10th में जब मैंने पढ़ना था तो मेरी नानी जी बोलते हैं कि मेरे पास अब पैसे नहीं है, ठीक है, तो आप देख लो पढ़ना है कि नहीं पढ़ना। मैंने बोला नहीं, मैंने पढ़ना है और मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है, मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है। तो हमारे यहाँ पंजाब में ना हरमंदिर साहब है अमृतसर में, वहां ही उनके पास है पिंगलवाड़ा। आप कभी अमृतसर आए हो तो वहां पे है पिंगलवाड़ा, जहाँ पे जो अनाथ होते हैं, जिनका कोई नहीं होता, ठीक है, उनको वहां पे रखते हैं, है ना। तो मैं पिंगलवाड़ा की एक ब्रांच है संगरूर में, तो मैं वहां पे 1 साल रही और मैंने अपनी 10th कंप्लीट की, राइट। 11 लड़कियां थी मेरे साथ। वो लड़कियां थी जिनको उनके माँ बाप ने कूड़े के ढेर पे फेंक दिया था, कूड़े के ढेर पे फेंक दिया था, जिनको पता ही नहीं था कि हमारे पेरेंट्स कौन है ना। जो मतलब वहीं पे मतलब कोई फेंक गया, कोई वहां पे छोड़ गया, है ना। तो जो वहां पे पली बड़ी, है ना, तो उनको नहीं पता था दुनियादारी क्या होती है, लेकिन मैं तो घर से आई थी तो मुझे तो सब कुछ पता ही था। तो मैंने 10th की, लेकिन उसके बाद जैसे डेस्टिनी में ना कुछ और ही लिखा होता है, बनना था डॉक्टर लेकिन शादी हो गई। तो 17.5 years की थी जब मेरी शादी हो गई, और बाल विवाह कह सकते हो, है ना। और उसके बाद जो लाइफ का एक और फेज होता है ना, वो आया, है ना। बड़े फेज देखे हैं आज तक लाइफ में, एक वो फेज आया जब 17.5 साल की थी, शादी होगी। अब सोचा कि शायद कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, है ना, शायद अब जाकर कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, क्योंकि पीछे बहुत कुछ देख कर आई थी मैं। लेकिन वहां पे कुछ ठीक नहीं था। 1 साल तक कुछ ठीक रहा, लेकिन उसके बाद फिर वही चीजें स्टार्ट हो गई, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस स्टार्ट हो गई, है ना। बात बात पे बोलना कि यस तेरी गलती है, तूने ये चीज की है, तेरी वजह से ये चीज हुई है ना। 18.5 साल की थी जब बेटा हो गया, राइट। आई हैव 1 बेबी बॉय, सो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है। अभी वो 16 साल का है एंड ही स्टडी इन 10th क्लास। तो 11 साल मैंने ऐसे तैसे करके निकाले, है ना। मार भी खाई, गालियां भी खाई, बहुत कुछ सहा, बहुत कुछ, है ना, लेकिन निकाल लिए। क्यों? क्योंकि बहुत मजबूरियां होती हैं। एक औरत है ना, अपनी लाइफ में बहुत कुछ सेक्रीफाइस करती है, बहुत कुछ, कभी अपने बच्चों की खातिर, कभी घर वालों की खातिर, है ना, और कभी ये सोच लेती है कि समाज क्या बोलेगा। सबसे बड़ी चीज कि समाज क्या बोलेगा, है ना। तो मैंने ऐसे तैसे करके कुछ चीजें अपने ऊपर, कहते हैं ना कि सहन की, और कुछ ना कुछ इस इंसान को टाइम दिया कि शायद अब ठीक हो जाए, शायद अब ठीक हो जाए, शायद अब ठीक हो जाए, है ना। क्योंकि एक वुमेन के अंदर, जो एक औरत के अंदर ना सहनशीलता बहुत होती है, वो सहन करती रहती है कि शायद अब ठीक हो जाए, अब ठीक हो जाए, अब ठीक हो जाए। लेकिन जब 11 साल पूरे हो गए और मुझे वो सम्मान नहीं मिला, है ना। मैं अपने घर में भी ऐसे होता था कि मैं, मतलब मुझे ऐसे ट्रीट किया जाता था कि जैसे मैं एक नौकरानी हूँ, है ना। मतलब मेरा कोई वजूद नहीं है ना। मैं क्या करना चाहती हूँ, मैं क्या बोलना चाहती हूँ, है ना, वो चीजें खत्म ही हो चुकी थी, है ना। तो उसके बाद जब बेटा मेरा 10.5 साल का था, मेरी 2 छोटी सिस्टर हैं, उनकी शादी हो चुकी थी। तो उसके बाद फिर मैंने सोचा कि नहीं, अब टाइम है, अब मुझे आवाज उठानी चाहिए। तो इन 2016 मैं सेपरेट हुई, और सेपरेट होने के बाद मैंने एक मिशन बनाया, जिसके बारे में आज आपको बता रही हूँ, बेटी बचाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ और बेटी को शोषण से बचाओ। फिर मैंने सोचा कि अब मेरा बेटा बड़ा हो चुका है ना, और मैं अभी किसी के ऊपर डिपेंड नहीं हूँ। मैं, जो बच्चियां हैं, जो लड़के लड़कियां हैं, जो स्कूल्स में जाकर मैं बच्चों को अवेयर करूंगी अबाउट गुड एंड बैड टच, राइट। क्योंकि जो अब्यूज, जो मैंने जो चीज फेस की है, वो किसी और के साथ ना हो। तब 2016 में मैंने साथ ही साथ कोर्ट में अपना डाइवोर्स केस फाइल किया, और साथ ही साथ मैंने स्कूल्स में जाकर टाइम लेना स्टार्ट किया कि मुझे टाइम दीजिए, प्लीज मुझे टाइम दीजिए, मैंने बच्चों को गुड एंड बैड टच के बारे में अवेयर करना है, राइट। तो टाइम बहुत कम मिलता था, नहीं मिलता था, तो स्ट्रगल करती गई। बोलने की आदत थी, बहुत अच्छा बोल लेती थी, तो लोगों ने मोटिवेशन स्पीकर का नाम दे दिया, राइट। तो चलो, जॉब भी अच्छी मिल गई। उसके बाद 2019 में मेरी जोश टॉक आई, मे बी आपने भी देखी होगी। तो जोश टॉक के बाद लोगों को पता चला कि यस, हु इज अनामिका संधू, एंड ये स्कूल्स में जाकर गुड एंड बैड टच क्यों समझाती है, क्या कारण है इसके पीछे, राइट। तो अभी ये टाइम है कि स्कूल्स में, कॉलेजेस में मुझे बुलाया जाता है और मुझसे फोन करके पूछा जाता है कि यस मैम, क्या आपके पास टाइम है, आप हमारे बच्चों के लिए टाइम निकाल सकते हैं। तो फिर मैं अपना स्केड्यूल चेक करती हूँ अपनी डायरी में, उसके बाद उनको मैं टाइम देती हूँ। तो अभी जो मेरा मिशन चल रहा है, ये गुड एंड बैड टच अवेयरनेस का, ये 3 years से लेके 13 years तक मैं बच्चों को गुड एंड बैड टच बताती हूँ स्कूल्स में। एंड अबाउट डिप्रेशन, इसके ऊपर मेरे टॉक शोज होते हैं 10th +1 +2 एंड इससे अबव जो हैं बच्चे, है ना, जैसे कॉलेजेस हैं, यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, वहां पे मेरे टॉक शो होते हैं। क्योंकि डिप्रेशन भी एक ऐसी खतरनाक बीमारी है जिसके बारे में ना तो हमें पता चलता है, और ना ही इसका कोई जल्दी जल्दी से इलाज मिलता है ना। तो वो हमारे ऊपर डिपेंड होता है कि हमने इस बीमारी से छुटकारा कैसे पाना है, अपने आप को खुश कैसे करना है, अपने आप को प्यार कैसे करना है ना। और अपने साथ जो हैं, जैसे हमारे घर वाले हैं, हमारे पेरेंट्स हैं, उनको प्यार कैसे करना है, इस जिंदगी से प्यार कैसे करना है। सो दिस इज माय लाइफ स्टोरी, है ना। तो मैं अपनी लाइफ का एक ही मोटिव है कि पंजाब की जो गवर्नमेंट है उनको मैं बार बार ट्वीट कर रही हूँ, जैसे सीएम भगवंत मान जी हैं पंजाब, उनको मैं बार बार ट्विटर पे ट्वीट कर रही हूँ और बार बार रिक्वेस्ट भी डाल रही हूँ जब भी मेरे सेमिनार्स होते हैं कि आप प्लीज जो गुड एंड बैड टच अवेयरनेस जो है, इसका जो टॉपिक है, इसको हर स्कूल में कंपल्सरी कीजिए, जरूरी है, राइट। तो फॉरेन में जैसे हम जाते हैं तो फॉरेन में आप देखो कि 4 साल से पहले तो बच्चों को स्कूल में भेजते नहीं है, लेकिन जब 4 ईयर प्लस हो जाता है बच्चा, तो जब उसको हम स्कूल में लगाते हैं तो वहां पे हम गुड एंड बैड टच की अवेयरनेस देते हैं, बच्चे को बताते हैं। लेकिन क्या यहाँ पे बताया जाता है? नहीं बताया जाता। इवन कि हमें तो पीरियड्स के बारे में भी नहीं बताया गया था, राइट। तो ये तो बड़ी दूर की बात है। तो लेकिन ये जो चीज है, ये जो टॉपिक है, इसको कंपल्सरी होना चाहिए। बस यही मेरी लास्ट विश है कि मरने से पहले, राइट, ये जो काम है ये बच्चों के लिए करके जाना है, बस।
Honestly, I am out of words right now. मतलब, be it your life journey, be it how you overcame your hardships, or be it anything that you have faced so far, it is something that no woman or no one should face. And मतलब, I have seen lot of brave people, and you are one of them. It really मतलब से दिल को छू जाने वाला story है.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And we have lot of viewers across our platform. So one of them is here, and she is here to ask her question. Dr. Kaushiki, do we have you here?
Right, right.
नमस्ते मैम, मैं आपका जो आपने जो बोला और जो जिस तरह से आपने इतना स्ट्रगल किया है वो सब देख के मुझे लाइक दुख भी होता है, लेकिन अच्छा भी लगता है कि आपने इतना सब स्ट्रगल्स फेस करने के बाद भी आप इतने ऊंचे मुकाम पे आई। और मेरी सवाल ये है कि हम अभी इस स्टेज में, इस उम्र में जब हम हैं, तो इसमें हम आपकी कैसे मदद कर सकते हैं? इस कॉज को हम अपने तरफ से किस तरह से अवेयरनेस फैला सकते हैं? तो ये मेरा सवाल है।
थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर क्वेश्चन। बड़ा अच्छा क्वेश्चन आपने पूछा। आप जैसे कहते हैं ना कि एक अकेला इंसान कुछ नहीं कर सकता, एक टीम वर्क होता है, राइट। तो जैसे मैं स्कूल्स में जाती हूँ, तो स्कूल्स में जब मैं सेमिनार करती हूँ ना, तो मैं अपने साथ प्रिंसिपल्स, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर जो होते हैं, टीचर्स को भी साथ में बिठाती हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने एक स्कूल में एक बार ही जाना है और मेरा 30 मिनट्स का लेक्चर होगा, राइट। और उसके बाद लेकिन जो स्टूडेंट और टीचर्स का जो है, उन्होंने 5 to 6 आवर्स स्पेंड करने इकट्ठे, राइट। तो मैं उनको हमेशा बोलती हूँ कि जैसे हफ्ते में एक बार, लाइक जैसे सैटरडे है, सैटरडे को जैसे आपने 10 मिनट्स बच्चों को, ठीक है, जो आप पढ़ा रहे हो, हिस्ट्री पढ़ा रहे हो, मैथ पढ़ा रहे हो, इंग्लिश, पंजाबी, हिंदी, जो भी आप सब्जेक्ट पढ़ा रहे हो, इज इट ओके, राइट, इट्स ओके। लेकिन ये जो सब्जेक्ट है ना, राइट, गुड एंड बैड टच का, दिस इज ए मोर कंपल्सरी और नेसेसरी है, राइट। सो प्लीज आप बच्चों को ना ये आप रिवाइज करवाते रहिए, क्योंकि बच्चे हैं, छोटे हैं, भूल जाते हैं, राइट। और आपको पता है कि आप जब भी कभी सुबह उठते हो ना, न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हो या टीवी ऑन करते हो, तो सबसे पहले खबरें क्या आती हैं? नेगेटिव खबरें क्या आती हैं कि 3 साल की बच्ची के साथ रेप हो गया, है ना। स्कूल बच्चा जा रहा था, स्कूल में 5 साल का बच्चा था, उसके साथ रेप हो गया, है ना। 3 महीने के बच्चे के साथ रेप हो गया, 10 साल के बच्चे लड़के के साथ रेप हो गया, है ना। मतलब ये जो चीजें हैं, हमारे बच्चे जो हैं हमारा फ्यूचर है ना, और इनको सेफ रखना हम सबकी ड्यूटी है। सिर्फ ये मेरी या आपकी ड्यूटी नहीं है, ये हम सबकी ड्यूटी है, राइट। बच्चों को अगर आप ये बताओगे कि व्हाट इज ए गुड टच एंड व्हाट इज ए बैड टच, राइट। गुड टच क्या होता है? जब कोई हमें अप्रिशिएट करता है। मैं आपको 2 मिनट में बता देती हूँ। आपने किसी को गाइड करना है, सपोज टू आपकी ये छोटी सिस्टर है, ठीक है, सपोज टू आपकी छोटी सिस्टर है, उसको आपने बताना है कि बेटा व्हाट इज ए गुड टच एंड व्हाट इज ए बैड टच। ये कोई डिफिकल्ट टास्क नहीं है, जस्ट 5 मिनट के अंदर आप उसको बता सकते हो। अब गुड टच क्या होता है बेटा? जब कोई हमें अप्रिशिएट करता है, राइट, हमें बोलता है बेटा वेल डन। जैसे आप स्कूल में हो, आप टेस्ट अच्छा करते हो, आपको गुड मिलती है ना, आपको स्टार भी मिलता है ना, राइट। अब उसके ऊपर क्या है कि और मैम क्या करते हैं, कई बार हमें सिर पे ब्लेसिंग देते हैं ना, बेटा गॉड ब्लेस यू, आपने बहुत अच्छा किया, है ना। अब जब घर जाकर हम अपने मम्मा पापा को टेस्ट दिखाते हैं कि देखो मम्मा मुझे स्टार मिला, देखो आज मुझे गुड मिली, है ना, तो वो भी क्या करते हैं, हमें गुड करते हैं, है ना, और हमें गॉड ब्लेस यू बोलते हैं। और कई बार मम्मा यहाँ पे किस भी कर देते हैं, राइट। दिस इज ए कॉल्ड गुड टच, राइट। अब ये है बैड टच। बैड टच क्या होता है? हमारे बॉडी के 4 प्राइवेट पार्ट्स हैं, राइट। कितने हैं? 4। अब 4 कौन से पार्ट्स हैं? फर्स्ट है लिप्स, राइट, सेकंड है चेस्ट, राइट, थर्ड है आपका यूरिन पार्ट जहां से आप सुसु करते हो, फोर्थ है आपके हिप्स जिसको हम बम बोलते हैं, राइट। तो ये जो आपके 4 बॉडी पार्ट्स हैं, दिस इज ए प्राइवेट पार्ट। इसको किसी को देखना नहीं, किसी को टच नहीं करने का, किसी को भी नहीं। मम्मा अगर आप छोटे हो, 5 इयर्स की हो, 4 इयर्स की हो, राइट, तो जैसे मम्मा आपको नहलाते हैं, आपके कपड़े चेंज करते हैं, इट्स ओके, राइट। लेकिन जैसे आप बड़े हो गए हो, ठीक है, तो आपने ना तो किसी के सामने कपड़े चेंज करने हैं, ना किसी को कपड़े चेंज करते हुए देखना है, और आप किसी को अपने प्राइवेट पार्ट्स को टच करने नहीं दोगे। अगर कोई आपके प्राइवेट पार्ट्स को टच करने की कोशिश करता है तो इट मीन दिस इज ए रॉन्ग। और आपने वहां पे क्या करना है? आपने वहां पे बोलना है नो। क्या बोलना है? नो। और क्या करना है? उसको पुश करना है। क्या करना है आपने? उसको पुश करना है और वहां से भाग जाना है। कहाँ पे जाना है? जहां पे आपको सेफ जगह मिलती है, राइट, आपको सेफ जगह मिलती है, ठीक है, वहां पे जाना है और बताना है, चुप नहीं रहना है, बताना है। किसको बताना है? मम्मा को बता सकते हो आप, ठीक है, पापा को बता सकते हो आप। अगर आप स्कूल में हो, जैसे आप बस में जा रहे हो, किसी ने आपके साथ कुछ गलत करने की कोशिश की या स्कूल में गलत करने की कोशिश की, वहां पे आप टीचर को बता सकते हो, प्रिंसिपल को बता सकते हो, लेकिन बताना जरूर है, बताना जरूर है, राइट। उन बच्चों को बताइए कि जो इंसान गलत करता है वो तो गलत है ही है, लेकिन जो गलत को सहता है वो भी गलत है, राइट। ये सिर्फ 5 मिनट का काम है। गुड और बैड टच के बारे में आपने डिफरेंस बता दिया ना, बच्चों को पता चल जाएगा। नेक्स्ट टाइम उसको ये पता होगा कि अगर यहाँ पे लिप पे किस करना है तो दिस इज ए रॉन्ग, यहाँ पे किस करना है तो दिस इज ए गुड टच, राइट। अगर हमारे कोई प्राइवेट पार्ट्स को टच करने की कोशिश करता है, इट मींस दिस इज ए रॉन्ग। बच्चा अवेयर हो जाएगा हमें क्या करना है, अवेयर ही तो करना है, राइट। कहते हैं ना कि हमारी सेफ्टी अपने हाथ में है ना। वो कैसे है? जब हम बच्चों को अवेयर करेंगे। अवेयर इज कंपल्सरी। आप अवेयर कर दो, बच्चा अपना आप सेफ हो जाएगा। वो घर आकर आपको बताएगा, उसके बाद जो लीगल जो आपने करना है वो आपकी जिम्मेवारी। ये चीजें हैं।
I hope that answered your question, Kaushiki.
Thank you, ma'am.
राइट, तो ऐसे करके आप हेल्प कर सकते हो। आप अपने जैसे नेबर्स हैं, आपके साथ जैसे कुलीग हैं, उनके बच्चे हैं, आपके जितना भी आप जितने लोगों को आप जानते हैं, आप अपना फोन उठाइए। आपके फोन में कितने कॉन्टेक्ट्स हैं? 200, 250, 300, 400 होंगे, राइट, राइट। इंस्टाग्राम है, सोशल मीडिया, उसको यूज कर सकते हैं, राइट। हम सारा दिन एक साइड से निकलते हैं, दूसरी साइड में घुस जाते हैं, राइट। लेकिन आप उसको किसी और तरीके से यूज करने के लिए उसको इस तरीके से यूज कीजिए। हैशटैग बेटी बचाओ, बेटी पढ़ाओ, बेटी को शोषण से बचाओ, राइट। इसको प्लीज यूज कीजिए। ये जो मुहिम है सिर्फ लड़कियों के लिए नहीं है, ये लड़कों को भी सेव करती है। मेरे जब भी लेक्चर्स होते हैं स्कूल्स के अंदर या कॉलेजेस के अंदर, वहां पे सिर्फ लड़कियां नहीं बैठती, वहां पे लड़के भी बैठते हैं। चाहे वो बीएड कॉलेज है, चाहे वो नर्सरी क्लास है, चाहे वो 10th क्लास है, राइट? तो आप प्लीज इसको अवेयर करना स्टार्ट कीजिए। फेसबुक है, फेसबुक पे आप सर्च कर सकते हैं अनामिका संधू, इंस्टाग्राम है संधू अनामिका, राइट? यूट्यूब पे ऊपर मेरा चैनल है जिंदगी विद अनामिका, राइट? उसके ऊपर भी मैं जो इंटरव्यूज करती रहती हूँ, कुछ ना कुछ डेली के जो टॉपिक्स हैं डिफरेंट पर्सनैलिटीज के साथ, राइट? जैसे कि मुझे बिजी रहना बहुत पसंद है, मैं अपने आप को बहुत बिजी रखती हूँ, क्योंकि जितना आप बिजी रहेंगे उतना पॉजिटिव रहेंगे, जितना आप फ्री रहेंगे तो नेगेटिव थॉट्स आते रहेंगे, राइट? तो बिजी रहिए और पॉजिटिव रहिए।
Thank you so much, ma'am. Like, thank you so much for coming in, sharing your story. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We now move on to an insightful panel discussion on the topic, is corruption a necessary evil?
Being a careful listener, a keen observer, and having amazing comprehension skills, he still makes a lot of bad decisions, which proves him with some crazy antidote. And even better, a copywriter by profession and part-time engineer student, Rishabh, says he makes brands lie about themselves for a living. If not working or well, trying to get through engineering. You can find him spending time playing cricket, watching Formula One. He has a knack for filmmaking and scene analysis that can make him ruthlessly spend hours on watching good cinema and TV series without feeling guilty. People say he's very outgoing and socializing because he has the ability to crack up a conversation with any stranger at the strangest possible place. To make it sound weirder, he's proud of it. Introducing you, our moderator, Rishabh. Moving forward to the panelists.
The panelists are Sayona Datta, student at the University of Technology, Sydney; Aditya Acharya, student at the University of Bonn, Germany; Saad Ansari; Rutuja Pardeshi, student at the Ashoka High School, Nashik.
Before we start the panel, I repeat, the topic is corruption a necessary evil? Do we have the moderator and panelists with us? I request everyone to switch on their videos and acknowledge.
Audio check. Hello.
Hi.
Adia, audio check.
Yeah, you're clearly audible.
So, hi everyone. Good to be here. Hi, Hitarthi.
Hello, Rishabh. How's your day so far?
You shouldn't be asking me that right now.
Okay. So, have you been watching our NTT so far? What are your views on it? Before we move ahead to the panel.
I did join in for a few seconds in between while I just came home. I got, I think, Pratham's message. So I thought that the panel discussion is right now. I just joined in. I saw some speakers speaking about it, the topic. It seemed nice. I couldn't stay there for a while, but I'm hoping this discussion, to be of some substantial value to everybody watching and to all of us joining here today as well.
I believe we have an amazing set of panelists, so that won't be an issue.
That's great. That's great. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we'll just wait 1 minute. Aditya is joining in. I think he's in, and we'll put you in spotlight, and we are good to go.
So, yeah.
Aditya, do we have you? Hello, hi Aditya. The thing is, we have a panel from all around the world. So, Sayona is joining in from Singapore. Aditya is joining in from a different place. So, it is amazing to see you guys here, and thank you so much for giving us your time. And we are good to go for the panel. If you want to explain few rules or set a basic ground rule, you can go ahead with that, Rishabh.
For any panel discussion, as far as I am aware of, all we need is everybody on the panel to know that you have opinions and so do others, right? We expect everybody to participate in the discussion, not just participate. Also, try to let others be able to express their opinions, and it's natural to have an opinion different to others, and that's the beauty of actually having a panel discussion. So I as a moderator, and I think I speak on behalf of everybody here, even the ones who are watching us, that today's discussion would be a sort of discussion where we are talking about something which is even not in inclination to what our belief system is. If we talk about the topic itself, I think it's corruption, and morally speaking, we know that it's not a great virtue for any country, for any individual, for any entity for that matter. But the topic has a question mark at the end of it as well. So I want everybody to think from the other side of the coin as well. All right, I think we are good to go, and the floor is open to everybody. Guys, you all can begin.
All right, you can declare the panel open and give it to.
Yeah. I declare the panel open. The floor is open to everybody. Anybody
Firstly,
would like to take a first go? Yeah, please. Sorry for interrupting.
No. Firstly, thank you for having me. And as you said, like definitely corruption is something which we take it as, okay, you're not supposed to do it, or it's not morally well done. But there's something I've always wondered about. Isn't corruption also something which leads to kind of an economic development? Although it's like a gray side, I would say, rather than a completely dark side. But I genuinely feel that there are certain instances. For example, China was not doing well, like long back, and they started selling these products which they could sell at the equal price, like how brands work, like Zara in Singapore works the same way in Zara in Mumbai. It goes the same pricing. But China just generally is selling much more on a price, which is like they create raw material, they have like cheaper stuff there, but they still do that kind of thing. So that has developed China to be economically quite strong lately. So I would say that's one point I would give there.
Any rebuttals or supporting points?
I just like to add into the flow. The first thing that came to my mind yesterday, someone asked me, was the first thing that came to my mind. It was actually very intriguing that corruption and necessary evil. So that was something I never had given a thought to. So the earliest, one of the earliest instances of corruption dates back to 1400 BC. In Egypt, some royal family had bribed a high priestess that they will build a temple for them, which had broken down in an earthquake, and in return they'll convince Sparta to fight a battle with them and conquer Athens. So this thing came to my mind. Okay, corruption. The setting stones of corruption were from the rich, right? The basic generalization of the world. If we see, was in the Stone Age, it was the strong and the weak. Then it became the royals and the nobles and the peasants. Then now it's just the rich and poor. A very basic generalization of the crowd. So corruption started from the right side, not the right side, the right and left while I'm speaking. Those who are always in power, be it physical power or status or money. So it started from there and it evolved into a system where it's normalized. I'd just like to share a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was out with my dad. We were on my way to get me my domicile certificate. So me and my dad went to a court here. We went there, we got in touch with the lawyer, my father knew. We sat down, he filled the form for us, and he told us this is the amount of fee you'll have to pay to the office for your document, and this is the amount of fee you'll have to pay for the person who will be on the the desk. And my dad was like, "वो पैसा क्यों देना है?" So he said कि अरे वो उनका खर्चा पाए. And my dad said, yeah, and my dad said कि oh अच्छा, okay, and we just went on, and I was like, okay, ये खर्चा पानी, I know what you're talking about. So it's it's normalized. So as Siona, I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Siona. As you said, it's a bad thing. a simple generalization of bad thing we keep as evil. Either something is evil or it is a strategy. So in the study of things, in the study of philosophy, a very fine line that separates evil from tragedy is two things. Tragedy, evil, unlike tragedy, is unnecessary and it's involuntary. Okay, so unnecessary is on the side of both the rich and the poor. It's unnecessary. The system should have been better, and the guy should have, get my process of my domicile done only on the fee that the government is asking. But the point that is involuntary, a rich family like the family in 1400 BC in Sparta, they didn't mind rebuilding a temple, because they had the money and they had something to conquer. But I have to pay that extra sum of amount involuntarily if I have to get my document on time and if I have to get my documents safe. So I think that's a really, at the end of my thought chain, I thought it is really appalling state of affairs. We're saying that corruption is a necessary evil when the thing that separates evil from tragedy is something that is unnecessary. So really thanks, Yona, to spark that up in my mind. That story came out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, like what you said is quite right in that case. But I mean, definitely that's something unnecessary. But don't you think that's just it? Correct me if I'm wrong though, but I feel it's something people desire, and desire is start of either something motivating or it's literally just going to get you down the hole. So I mean, we're always like corruption is wrong or it's morally you shouldn't be doing it. But when it comes cut to you, where let's say it's something like you got to give some cash and then you can get your work done on an instant, you're just like, it's fine, it's all right. What's the big deal in that case? So yeah, that would be something I was thinking of.
I think I would like to add some points here. So what I personally feel is that we can say that it can be described, the word corruption, probably under two headings. As Siona said, one could be the auto-willing one and one could be the force-willing. So I think the auto-willing is more like one which is obviously practiced by the rich because they tend to make their lives more easier by doing that. And the force-willing is something that you are meant to do so eventually while facing a lot of problems, So I think people now basically can believe that success through corruption more than the talent is kind of getting more evident, but at the same time there should be some kind of it's I would kind of go with the support that it's kind of a necessary evil which will help us return back to what we need to be towards a more moral side. But yeah, it should again not cross the limit. Maybe that's one thing I would like to advocate for. Yeah.
So like a leash. Sorry.
Yeah, right. You're right.
I'd like to what he said. I'll like to add something. Like he said, the corruption is of like two types: the one which is forced and one which is not forced. So I think one which is not forced has always helped us. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the unforced type of corruption has kind of always helped us. Like not always, but most of the times. Like I'd like to give an example. One of my very close friend who is not very smart. Yeah, that's how I can put it. She was not very smart studies, so could not go through 12th. It was a very difficult time for her. So she scored 47% in her 12th. But now she went for architecture and she is flawless in it. She tops every class of hers. But the only point is she went through the admission quota to get there in that architecture college, which is a corruption thing. The admission quota that we all know about in colleges. I think it helped her. It is not something that was forced on her. It was a type of corruption. She's pretty happy now that we know about it. So it kind of helped her. It also helps us in our daily life. Like most of us who are living in India must have once or twice been caught by a traffic police for some very silly reason in the middle of the road. And, we all use the money and we just get out of that situation in like 15 to 20 minutes. No one wants to actually wait in a line for like 5 to 6 hours at the RTO center and, go through the whole process. Everybody uses corruption as a way to, save time or try to get in contact with things that they actually want to. And I think the unforced type of corruption is pretty much a necessary evil. I think we need it.
What gist I'm getting out of what everybody has been saying by now is corruption, if it is a system, then I think it is acceptable. Like Rutuja said, the institute level admission quota, which helps people to get into college which they couldn't do on merit basis, right? And in the same way, what Mohammed said, for getting the domicile certificate. So if corruption is imbibed in the system, I think that's one of the way where corruption becomes acceptable. And if we are talking about, see, it comes under the branch of being organized crime, if I put it very bluntly. And organized crime has always come out of a necessity. It has always been the root of, inefficiency of something that has led to there being something known as organized crime. Like, for example, I'll give you a very basic thing. Do you know how rights of IPL or broadcasting rights of IPL are, given away? If at all you are aware of, it's in a way where the person who has the most money gets to hold the rights. Okay. It sounds very correct to all of us because that's how auctions are, that's how rights are sold. But if you look at it in a very different perspective, like when we are comparing it with that kind of an exchange at any level, then you can say that it again comes into a gray area because this year's Tata IPL sponsorship it is being marketed that Tata got it only because we had Vivo for the past 2 years and it was a Chinese firm. But it's the lobby which people like Tata, the business conglomerates like Tata have over this country. And if tomorrow or day after tomorrow, Jio gets into the picture because they already are. You see, they already have a team in IPL. If they get into the picture, which let me tell you, they easily can. They can get the title rights and sponsorship rights to IPL without any flaw, only because they have the biggest money. They have the biggest pockets, right? So when crime is done organizingly in a very organized way, I think it gets accepted in the society well. This is where the thing of, commission also comes into picture. Commission as a thing, if you see, it's acceptable, but it shouldn't be. You paying somebody extra to do the job, which is their job in the first place. Incentive, again, a form of corruption, which is acceptable. So that's what I'm getting the vibe right now. I want you all to take the conversation in a more broader direction. Some unconventional ways of corruption which you have seen and you think aren't acceptable to you. And I'm hoping that there is somebody on the panel who finds it acceptable. I just want to see the difference of opinion, the two sides of it.
I'm just, I'll give a heads up to it. I personally do not agree. As a panelist here and as a citizen of a country, as a citizen of this world, I do not believe that corruption is, it should not be acceptable. But again, as you said, it's a gray. I remember back when the second wave of COVID was hitting Mumbai really hard. We were reporting from Powai. I was a journalist there, so we were reporting from Powai that how beds were being sold. पहले से मतलब there were patients, COVID patients lying outside the hospital, and beds were empty, and they were being almost auctioned to the rich out there. So we believe ki, dude, what the hell? There are already patients lying outside of this. Why do you need to go somewhere else and look for when you're in a hospital, when your prime objective is not to earn money but to treat people? But then again, we sat down, we were talking, we and my editor and a couple of more people from my team, we were talking, and someone said, but I believe, he said that, I'm quoting it, but I believe if I was as rich as these guys who are buying the hospital beds online, if I was as rich as these guys, and someone from my family was suffering from COVID, my mother or my children or I myself was suffering from COVID, I would do anything. I mean, if the system of corruption wasn't in existence at all, I would try to, I would take the initiative to tell the hospital that take extra money from you, but let me have the bed. And that, opened up a huge lid on my mind. Who exactly, like you say, it's necessary. As we talked about earlier, it's either voluntary or involuntary. We either do it willingly or unwillingly. So the thing is, if I have the money, I will do it willingly. That's just basic human nature. I want my things first. I want to save my, my loved one first from COVID. Similarly, if I'm driving, if I'm going somewhere from a vehicle and I see a traffic policeman fighting with someone, and I'll say like, yaar, ye log kya karte hai? These guys just corrupt. They just, give them, they'll just take 200 rupees or 500 rupees from you for no reason. They'll just point out any minor fault and they'll ask for 500, or they'll threaten you. Tumhare naam par hum pauti banate. You'll have an official record in the roads department कि आपने एक law break किया है. But मैं जब जा रहा होता हूँ उसको से कहीं पर, if I'm late for an exam or if I'm late for an interview or something, और मुझे कोई ऐसे आर्मी स्टॉप कर रहा है और मुझे बोल रहा है कि हाँ, मेरा हेलमेट भी है, मेरा लाइसेंस भी, बट इज आस्किंग कि नहीं ये आपकी गाड़ी में खराब है, आपका मिरर मिसिंग है या कुछ है, then I'll just try to stop the conversation as quickly as possible and just slide him something. He's like, dude, let me go. I have somewhere much more important to be. So it's not acceptable. It should not be acceptable. It's ironical that I say it. It's necessary, almost necessary, but it should not be acceptable. I personally believe that corruption should not be accepted. That's my point. Just wanted to clear it out.
So let me just ask you a question regarding that. So you are saying corruption is okay until and unless it's not something you have a desire to. So it's basically a situational thing, right?
I believe that the system itself should not exist in the first place. The policeman should not, be someone who is going to catch me and ask me for a bribe in the first place. The one at the desk making my domicile shouldn't have the conscience कि मैं इससे पैसे लूँगा इसके certificate. That's what I believe. In concern to the system that exists, it's necessary, but it shouldn't be acceptable. The system should not, but it is what it is. And now, we live in that system, we live in society, and it's necessary for us to pay something. Something at some point of our life.
But then again, that system just kind of depends completely on country to country. Because I feel living here in Singapore for 7 years, and I lived in India before. So I wouldn't say that like annual visits, and I see all this corruption as well. And I wouldn't say that there are people around me who haven't bribed for what they were doing. Definitely, they have done that in front of me. And that's something even we say as NRIs, where we're like, it's all right, we just give $500 and he'll be good to go. Like, that's completely okay. But no one has guts here because that's not exactly a system. It's just that there's kind of like a fear, and that there's like okay, you cannot just do corrupt things, because even if we see a lot of people doing sometimes illegal things, like not even here, any other country I've been to, we're like, okay, let's not do it because it's not our country. And I think it's more than the system. Even if a system exists, it's just what we believe in, that it's fine if you do it in India, it's not a big deal, but you cannot do this in Singapore, even if they don't get caught. Well, it's true, right? You can't catch corruption until it's proven in the first place. You're good to go until it's just pretty chill.
I think what both of you said has only one kind of root cause, which is like a moderator said, corruption started because of some reason, which is because of a necessity, which is the need of money. And corruption, I think it started with our system, people working in our government itself, and that started happening because our government employees who have a proper official amount of money that they are earning from their work, which is not sufficient for them. So if we take our family, we all have our needs, and if they are not fulfilled, we do look for money, we do try getting a second job, or we try to look for ways where we can earn money. And I think so does the people who work in government. They do, people, if they are in the system, they know then that they're not going to get paid as much as their family needs. So they look for ways, and that's, I think, how corruption is born. And that's how, and for so many years, corruption has been so lenient in India that, you said, if we corrupt some, if we try to bribe some policemen in India, we'll just take it so leniently. People on the road, they see it and they do not care about it. But if the same we try to do it in US or another country, it would be a huge deal. It is because I guess both the people in government and the common man, both have made it such a lenient issue that nobody cares about it. Like, even if we are watching someone who's going through a horrible phase because of corruption, we'll just ignore it because we like, okay, government aisa hi hai. That's literally the phrase we listen in our everyday life. Government waisa hi hai, system waisa hi hai. There are people who point out government and corruption and, all the loopholes that are created in our system. But there is a very few number of people who actually want to fight it. Like Saad mentioned earlier, if when our ass is online, we are ready to give the money. Like, I personally, from my experience, he told me what happened during COVID, what situation he saw in hospital. I went through the exact same for my grandmother. And it was the same kind of thing that was happening back here in Nasik, in one of the hospitals, and we did kind of pay extra. So my grandmother could get a hospital bed in one of the most good hospitals. So it's like, if our ass is online, we'll do it. If you are someone who works in a government office and your family has some expectations, I need this or I need that, or it might not just be an expectation, it sometimes might be a necessity for you. And that's how, you start getting corrupt, I guess.
Sorry. Go on.
I was just pointing out, we have Aditya too, right? In our panel. I would love to hear his speak. I mean, if he's here,
No, I think there's some issue with connection there because he's not here.
Yeah, please go.
Okay,
I'm really sorry, I'm turning off my camera. I'm actually, you guys can see I'm in tuition. I teach here. So the lectures are over, but there are a couple of parents who are coming here for inquiries about admissions. I'm just guiding them. So sorry.
So as you said, right, like this is so I just want to ask you in this case. So you're saying, is government corrupt? Like, that's something. Now I'm not really living in India, so I cannot just go on bashing my own country in that case. But it's something I have always wondered: is system corrupt or are people corrupt? Because even the system is formed by the support of people. So which one is the corrupt?
Yes. I guess both of them are. You cannot be corrupted akele now. You need someone who is going to pay you the bribe. It is both of us. Like, even the system is, and even the common man is. Like in huge PWD offices, where the tenders for road construction or building constructions are being, the contracts are given. The system is like the person who's in charge of making these contracts. He puts out the contract like an auction, and people file these tenders. And before actually these tenders go in for the analyzing and everything, the one who's supposed to do the work, that person already knows, because he's paid the bribe, because he's paid the highest bribe actually. Not just so I guess it is not just the person in charge who is corrupt, but it is also the contractor who's giving him the money. It is not just the system that is corrupt, it is also the people who are ready to give the money. And because these people are ready to give the money, these people, the government or the system or the people who are asking for that bribe, do the same with people who cannot even afford it. Like the ones who do not have money, or the ones who are not willing to do the same.
I think I have a little. I mean, what you said is true in the current scenario. But I guess, out of what I've read, it started with the rich, trying to conquer something, trying to get the support of the monarchy and the government, the kings or the religious heads at those times. So what I mean, and it's totally just a speculation. I have not researched the entire chronology of it, but what I believe, what I made out of it is the rich started it. for their own convenience. They started paying more for their own convenience. Then the system realized that if we get more from someone, we should prioritize their work. So this basically crept in the system slowly, gradually, and it becomes so that if you do not, pay an extra sum, your work won't be done. Now it doesn't matter if you're an aristocrat or you're peasant. It doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor. If you can pay, only then can your work be done. So I think in the current scenario, exactly we are equally responsible for it as much as the system. But I guess that's how the system passed down. I guess that's where this concept of tribalism and individualism comes in. I was reading some Greek philosophy, I think it was Stoicism. It had this small page about individualism and tribalism. That we as human beings, we live in societies, we live in tribes. Those tribes can be cultural, religious, economical, things like that. We live in multiple, tribes. According to, religiously we are in some other tribe, economically we're in some other tribe, culturally we're in some other tribe. So a person can be part of many tribes. But what happens is, it's said that a wise man is he who is a part of a tribe and stands out as a tribe equally important, so that when the tribe goes in the wrong direction, he can recertify the tribe to go in the right direction. So I think that's where this concept comes in, that we have, just let us dilute in the system, and there's a need for someone or a group of someone's who can, come up and, recertify the group back to the, right direction. I guess that's how the system should be defined.
But as you said that this started with the rich people, and they are like, okay, we need to conquer something, so we need someone under our hand in the first place. So what's your opinion with so this is just my opinion, I'm taking a different perspective in this, is that maybe rather than rich people, it's also poor people exploiting. For instance, when I come to India and whenever I have to do some pension work or something, I generally do this thing where I'm like, can you just not pay? Like, wait for 1 hour, let's just get our work done as legally as possible. And there was this one person who said that I can't do it, like, it's not open. And I'm like, I can't do this again and again. I can come like thrice already. And he's like, no, madam, kal aiye. I was like, cool. And I went out and I went in, and he went behind his desk to just play carom. And the second, my uncle was like, okay, just get some chai or something and we'll have our work done. And I was like, cool, now let's just do that. And he instantly got up from that carom board and he's like, I'm free, I'm doing this, so it's fine. And I was like, so who's exploiting who exactly in this case? Like, aren't like if a couple of evil, like not evil, I would say, not financially settled people, or even if financially settled people, they are sitting out and they're like, yeah, well, we are taking the bribe, so we just give it. Isn't it the other way of exploiting, rather than rich people to poor people? Poor people are also the accepting ones and doing the work and spreading the word. So which one do you think?
I guess it dripped down from the rich, from the powerful. And as you said, if I'm a poor guy and I work in some office that is necessary office, this is essential office where everyone has to come and get the document stuff. And if I realize that I can ask these guys more, if my salary is not enough, if I need something for a kid's admission or someone's operation in hospital, or buy something for my own sake. So if I know that these things exist, if I ask them, if I don't do their work, they do not have. Here's where the Indian laws come into play a lot too. As you differentiated in US and Singapore, it's not such a common thing, because Indian laws are a lot more complicated. When we go through these things, there are things that that wouldn't practically make a lot of difference in things, but a government official can point it out and charge you for it. And to avoid that, to avoid your name getting into a place, this person has made a mistake lawfully, you have to you pay them the price. So I think this is where it comes into that the system is like this. It's complicated, and the people who are sitting behind the desks, they have arbitrary power. They realize that they can ask for extra money, and even if you oppose, there's hardly anything you can do about it, because their superiors and their superiors and their superiors and their superiors, all of them have that arbitrary power, and do not want to mess up with the hierarchy of that power. Because if I, as a big leader in some government, if I don't let my employees have the bribe, I myself am being bribed. If I'm not being bribed, I won't let them have the bribe. They'll do something against me. They'll revolt. They'll throw me out of the office. They'll get someone who will get the bribe. They'll do the work like that. So I think it dripped down from it, but all of us are equally contributing to the system. That's, I mean, why there's a need for a group or someone who can recertify the system. But what you said is really true.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
I
Okay.
have a question for the floor. I want everybody of y'all to think for it a while and then answer it. I want the answer. I am expecting the answer and the discussion to be a little intricate. So when we are talking about corruption, is corruption only known as corruption when it is done with one entity being the government, or corruption can be in private entities and corporates as well? Because that can be termed as a business transaction as well. There aren't, it all boils down to the laws which are there in the country, because one thing which is a form of corruption here in a socialist country might not be corruption in a capitalist economy. I want to know your opinions on it.
No, definitely you're right that these can be done, and it's not always about the community and the government. I would say that happens quite often in corporate offices. I know of this one story. I shouldn't be really saying out the names and stuff, but my friend's parent was talking about it, and she was telling about how there's another company, like a sister company, named on this one person in office, and he gets paid even if he's not doing anything, absolutely nothing he does. Like, he apparently snores in the office, and he still gets like this amazing amount of ton. So we were just asking, why is he getting it? And it's like, oh, because the boss has some black money, and he doesn't really want to show that, okay, there's just money like somewhere in the account. So he's just putting it as a sister company, and this person is playing the role of the director in the sister company. Although the sister company doesn't exist, the director doesn't exist. But as simple as that, he's getting this amount of pay, which other employees, like even if a peon, like maybe 1,000 rupees, even if it's like a low amount for all of us, it's something which can actually help someone out. Like even 1 rupee counts. And that was so, that was like, I'm like, oh, so it's not always government involved. It's something as simple as a fellow employee could be getting so much pay, like some amount with there, and we wouldn't know, and someone's right would be actually dying there.
Yeah, like I'll add to that. In corporate worlds also, there are people who bribe the senior officers or senior people for jobs. Like if you know somebody from a higher position and you want some of your relative or your friend or someone who would be good for that job, so you try to get in contact with that higher authority, and you don't exactly give them money. Sometimes you give them gifts. Gifts, like there are people who gift each other cars, and they are said they are gifts. It's a part of thankfulness or whatever for the job, but it is actually the bribe, and it goes on very frequently in corporate worlds. It's just the thing that nobody looks at it as bribe, or just because people are not giving it out as money or bags of cash, people don't talk about it much, or even object over it. Because in corporate world, most of the companies are private. So they're like, we can hire anybody. It is our completely decision, and we are in the authority of doing same. So nobody is there to question them about it. But I think it is a form of corruption only.
I would love to thank you, Rishabh, that you brought this out. I was afraid that the conversation would be, bound to the whole government and government offices were apart. I thought a lot about corruptions in other forms too. Because I just Googled it to quote it again. I read, the first thing I did yesterday was Google the definition of corruption. So Google says a dishonest or an immoral behavior of activity. Okay. So now when we're talking about corruption, you said you brought up the power of the corporate world. I think it boils down a lot to lower levels of our lives, and I think that's where the answer lies. If it's a necessary evil or not. Carrying on to Rudra's point, okay, I want promotion. I'm someone who's looking for a promotion. There are a couple of competitors. I give my senior a car. Now that's corruption. I know what my intention is. The senior knows what my intention is. I'm trying to give him something to get a favor. That's immoral. That's wrong. Okay. Dowry. Let's take for instance dowry. I'm a rich guy. I have a son. I'm from a big family, and now I want, if you want your girl child to be married in my family, my reputed and well status family, you'll have to pay me something. You'll have to give me the cash or a car or a fridge or washing machine or all of that stuff. So is that corruption? It is. It's unnecessary. It's immoral behavior. If I ask you, Rishabh, if I ask you, hey man, can I have like $1,000 for a couple of days? Say, अरे भाई मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है, so like just go away. जाते आते, if I'm really in need of that 1,000, and जाते आते पीछे मैं बोलूँगा कि अरे यार, how dash of a person he is, यार, he won't help me out. Is that corruption? It is wrong in moral behavior. But how am I supposed to get that frustration out of him? How in such a corrupt system, how am I supposed to get my daughter married in a reputed and a good family? How am I supposed to, when the competition is so cutthroat, how am I supposed to get a promotion so I can, get a better amount of salary so I can do something more for my family? And I guess here's where the answer lies, that it's a necessary evil or not. We just have to do it. This is human time. It's a part of, our basic biological structure, even I can say, that you have to get it out of your head. You have to get that feeling, that thing that you have to get it done. Or else, what kind of person you are that you can't do a simple job then when the only thing you had to do was pay a little more. So I think that's, the conversation should, I guess, go there too. Because corruption in our daily life has become so normalized that the only corruption we see is in the government offices.
Then I have a question for you. If you're saying these kind of things are corruption, then as simple as something which I believe everyone has done is cheating on a text. Like, you see some really smart person who doesn't want to cheat, who's not going to give out answer, and you're trying to peep into that person's paper. Is that corruption as well?
I guess from the things, from the perspective I spoke, if you take out corruption, like corruption is not this, corruption is not bribe. Corruption is not the equivalent to bribe. Corruption is doing something immoral. Our hearts are corrupt, our minds, people's minds are corrupt. If someone thinks bad of someone, his mind is corrupt. So if we talk about corruption in all of its existence, jahan par corruption exists, that is corruption. But thank you for taking, pointing that out, because अब तक मैंने जो चीजें बोली थी, the job promotion thing, the dowry thing, the गाली गलौज वाला thing, all of these, are harming something. My bribing my senior to get a job harms the, hard work, more hard work and more qualification my other two colleagues better. My paying dowry, me asking dowry and me paying the dowry, puts the society in jeopardy. That अगर आपको की बेटी की शादी करवानी है, you have to pay the dowry. If I, curse Rishabh for not giving me those 1,000 rupees, then I'm, first thing that if someone hears it, my reputation goes down. And there's a kind of an enmity, that boils up in my heart first. So, but cheating on a test, that if I copy from that person, okay, if I get one answer from this person, okay, so it kind of won't harm anyone to an extent that person feels the harm, something like that. So there are corruptions that will harm others, people that are harmful to society. There are corruptions like cheating a small answer, a small fill in the blanks to someone's paper, that won't harm anybody, but it will benefit me. But it's still corruption. It is still wrong and immoral behavior.
Because I was going to ask you, if you're a batch of CBSE 2018, the math paper got leaked and no one was happy about it. Everyone who studied was like, why? Like, these people are going to get the marks. Like, you feel that boil in you that I studied so difficult. Like, I was dying every night. And then some person just randomly just scored 100 and I got 80. So that's something, isn't that like, even that, or even for the fact we must have heard it somewhere where you're like, you don't want to cheat. And then your friend goes like, kya yaar, just do it, right? What's a big deal? Just cheat, it's 10 marks and all that. And eventually you just get to that point where it's like, it's okay to cheat. And if someone doesn't cheat, you're like, yeah, that guy's so lame. So that peer pressure also would be part of that.
Cheating wala thing has happened in every school, I guess. It happens mostly between two friends who doesn't want to cheat and one who wants to. And the one who does cheat scores more than the one who's not cheating, who's actually writing his own paper all faithfully. And then that person, he feels like, shit, I wrote all my paper all by myself and I still scored less than you. And then I guess in the next paper, even he does the same. He goes for cheating. He goes looking for the answers. It's like one person does it and the whole group will follow.
So to sum up, the reason why something like corruption exists is because there is a sense of dissatisfaction among people with in pretext to the system that exists. Like when we were talking about government in picture, there is inefficiency in the government, right? The process. That's why there is corruption, because something needs to be smoothened out. There needs to be some kind of lessening the friction. That's where corruption comes into picture. It acts as a catalyst, if I'm not wrong, in easing out the process. In the same way, while we are talking about the education system, it still values marks, and that's why we tend to cheat, because marks is what decides our fate. So that's why cheating is incentivized, because we want to score marks. Marks is what is incentivized. So every root cause of why corruption exists in a particular situation only goes to reflect that that system in the first place is very inefficient. Yeah, I wasn't leading it to anywhere. I was just trying to generalize it. So yeah, please go on. Anybody?
Like you said, Rishabh, you're not trying to, come to a end point or a solution. I think there is no end to the whole corruption process, or I think there's no solution, because everybody will accept it that corruption started from a place of necessity. Somebody needed the money, or somebody needed the work to be done, or somebody needed to save the time, or somebody who deserved it, so he paid it and then he got that done. So it's like a balance. It comes, one side comes from necessity and other comes from having the abundance of money or time or whatever you're trying to bribe the other person for.
I think we can't root out corruption from us because as I started my conversation with people, they are a part of life. Tragedy is a part of life that we humans and society collectively give birth to tragedy, and evil is something that is deeply rooted into us. I mean, if you guys don't believe these things, the earliest biblical stories, Adam and Steve, the story of Adam and Eve, or the story of Eve Cap, where Adam and Eve, what happened to them? They got tempted by the fruit, they ate the fruit, and they were thrown out of the kingdom. So even just even if you don't believe it, just let's assume the context of the story. Adam and Eve are two of till date the most precious and the most auspicious creations of God. They have been kept in a place where there's no bad, no harm, no evil, no disease, no nothing. And they still got tempted to do something that God specifically told them not to. Right? And they did it, and they faced the consequences. Just like they didn't care, the sons of Adam and Eve, the one murdered his elder brother and he buried him. Things like this, they're deeply rooted into us. I guess what can be done here is, it's, I guess, for an example, I'll take discrimination. Discrimination cannot be, inequality cannot be rooted out of a life, because inequalities are rational and irrational. Inequalities are reasonable and unreasonable. For example, college admissions. If I go for college admissions, they say that your cutoff 80%. If my cutoff is not 80%, that's an inequality of sorts. It was 80% ke upar walo ko hi admission. But that's reasonable because it's based on merit. But there's unreasonable discrimination. If Rutuja wants to play basketball with me, and I bolunga no, you're a girl, you can't. That's unreasonable. If someone says you're a Muslim or you're a Hindu or you're a Christian or you belong to certain creed or a race, and I won't let you do something that involves me, that's unreasonable. I guess the same thing should be with this corruption is if the corruption leads on to something. Every kind of corruption, I guess, leads slowly with the butterfly effect, leads on to something really catastrophic. But I think अगर कोई ऐसा corruption है जो immediately harm कर रहा है, like the hospital bed वाला, those things should be in our conscience. We should feel that this is a complete no-go. I mean, there's no sliding a 200 note in a policeman's hand going away. We are all equivalent to stealing someone's chance at life. So I guess some balance needs to be created. Some line is because corruption cannot be defined. Corruption cannot be defined. Evil is deeply rooted because in my opinion, corruption has always come out of it. I think there needs to be a line defining that this is not acceptable. If I curse Rishabh behind my back, that is acceptable. But if I try to pay someone to get a job, get a promotion ahead of someone else, if I try to pay a hospital to get a bed, that should be acceptable. I think there's a need to be of a line to be drawn, in my opinion.
All right. So I've been told that we are running out of time. So I want each and every one of you all to sum up your whole opinion about it, and also if there were some points which changed your mind to an extent, do mention them. All in all, I want you all to generalize your key takeaways from the discussion today, and if possible, give one or two ways where corruption or the effects of corruption could be minimalized. If it's possible to get rid of corruption, I mean, I don't think that's even possible in a dystopian or utopian world. But if it is possible to minimize the effects of it, I want you all to mention a few points in those discourse as well.
I'll request the panelists to let me go first because I'm almost done. Right? We can consider my ending points to the concluding points, so we can end really quickly. The key takeaways for me personally was, Rutuja and Shiona, both of your points cracked up, sparked up a lot of new thoughts in me. The whole, is corruption that is the life, that thing, and a couple of more things that I thought, simultaneously. So, abhi bhi mere dimag mein. Secondly, as I said, Rishabh, I mean, if we need to, minimize the effects and harmfulness of the thing that's we call corruption to the minimal, we have to draw a line of what's acceptable and what's not. Completely, there's a need. I mean, there always will be a gray, but there's a need for someone or something to define a black and a white. That this is acceptable, this is not. So I guess some part of corruption can be minimalized, like completely completely redoing the whole system of our government office, something like that. We need a line to be drawn. That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel I did walk into this call thinking that, okay, this is still a gray line for me. Like it's somewhere I would believe it's right and wrong. And I leave it with the same opinion. Definitely love the analogies, love the stories, love the different perspectives. And I did learn the fact that corruption is not only about like government or like community or something. It's much more and as simple as a simple cheating, which might, as a person grows into something else as well. But definitely that's not something you can get rid of until and unless it's something that has a direct effect and you can actually save someone. Or I would say that also personally depends on how a person has been experience wise, that they think it's okay for a person to die, or like they are like, okay, it's maybe you should not cheat. Definitely smaller things, and that just is how a person is shaped. So that would depend on what life they have lived and how they want to really stop the corruption. So I would say personally, don't mess with someone's job, don't mess with someone's life. Definitely don't do anything like that. Have how much ever you can save yourself from really getting into that dark patch of corruption, you should really do it. And again, but also utopia also exists because dystopia exists. If everything was corruption free, we wouldn't really have the difference between a good and bad, because good exists because bad exists. So yeah, that's it.
Listening to all of you has given me a perspective to a topic otherwise so trivially discussed. Thank you so much, panel and the moderator, for indulging in our conversation and having a healthy discussion over this topic. We now adjourn the panel. Thank you so much.
It's now time for our next speaker, Swara Patel, founder and president of the Period Society, a non-profit that she began at the age of 16, based on her personal experience with the menstrual taboo in India and interactions with menstruators from marginalized communities who struggle to access period products. She is a freshman at Macaulay Honors College in New York City and majoring in biochemistry and gender sexuality studies on a pre-medical track.
We welcome you, Swara, and you can go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, and I do apologize for the delay, like right when I was about to log in, and that like tapped out. But anyway, I'm really glad to be here. And I think more than like a speech, I just really want to share my story today about why I began the Period Society. And I feel that it's really experience that's like common to a lot of us, especially like growing up in India. So I lived in India till I was 16 and I went to school in Bombay. And I got my first period at the age of 12 with absolutely like no sex education whatsoever and knowing what to expect. So my school like had this reputation as one of the best private schools in India, but they never ever like educated us about menstruation or like sex education. And the only time they even like brought up a conversation about periods was right before our board exams in the 10th grade, when they just had to cover it because it was part of the syllabus. And I remember people got so awkward when my biology teacher was talking about menstruation and everyone was giggling. And it was like this very funny, like taboo subject that, you know, people weren't supposed to talk about publicly. And I remember when I got my first period, my mom just handed me a pad and she told me to, she told me how to use it. But apart from that, she never really taught me like what was going on with my body. Why was I menstruating? Why is this something that happens every month? And even though both of my parents are healthcare professionals, when I first got my period, they started gradually like introducing these restrictions to me. So I was told that when I'm on my period, I'm not supposed to worship, or like, you know, if there's a festival or something going on, then I'm not supposed to go to people's houses because I might offend their sentiments. And all of this didn't make sense to me, but I kind of I'll say went along whatever they told me because I didn't know what menstruation is. So it was really easy for me to buy into these myths that menstruation makes you impure because I was ignorant. And I think once I learned about the menstrual cycle in school and I saw that it's just a normal biological process that takes place every single month, then it was hard for me to kind of logically follow along whatever my parents were telling me. And, you know, some of the myths that I saw other people around me follow. So my house help, like whenever she was on her period, she refused to like touch plants because she thought they're going to wilt, or she refused to like touch the pickle jar because she thought they'll rot. And like, you know, I kind of talked to her about how it's like scientifically and logically inconsistent, but she used to think that her period blood was kanda khoon, so she refused to kind of do away with all of these superstitions. And I think for me, the turning point to begin the period society was really this experience when I was volunteering at a pediatric oncology ward in Mumbai. And a lot of families came from rural India, and they basically kind of spent all of their life savings on the child's cancer treatment. And that's when I met this lady who came from Bihar, and she basically spent all of her money on her son's treatment, so she couldn't afford period products. So she was just describing to me what a day in her life looked like when she was on her period and she's taking public transport and like going all around the city like without having a pad. And she used to use this piece of her old sari as a pad and, you know, just kind of go about with her day. And it was such a difficult, harrowing experience. And that just led me to kind of switch perspective and think that if I didn't have access to period products, which is something that I can take for granted, then what's my day going to look like? And am I going to be able to do all of the things that I usually do? And a little bit of research kind of led me to this shocking statistic about how over 23 million kids in India drop out of school every single year when they begin their period because they can't afford period products. And it's very common for people to use alternatives like an old piece of cloth or ash or grass instead of a pad if they can't access one. And this can lead to like a variety of menstrual health disorders, and it also leads to people isolating themselves and skipping school or dropping out of school once they begin menstruating. So at the Period Society, we initially just started as a group of 5 of us, including my friends. And what we do is we go around and we explain the biology of menstruation to people in their local language. And we use a lot of visual aids like diagrams and videos. And this interactive conversation to understand the superstitions that people might hold about menstruation. And we basically explain the biology of menstruation in an easy to understand way to them and encourage them to rethink what they've been taught about menstruation. instead of forcing our beliefs on them, because I think it's most organic when people themselves let go of the myths that they're holding on to versus someone from the outside coming and like forcing their opinions on them. So we just provide them education to make an informed decision. And we also provide period products to people who can't afford them, with an emphasis on environmental sustainability. So whenever there's a community which has like a decent water supply and access to sunlight, we try to distribute these cloth pad kits, which can last up to 3 years, and which are easy to just clean by washing in water and like drying them in sunlight to kill off bacteria. And this was like more of a long-term solution than trying to hand off someone like a packet of pads for a month or like a week, however long that lasts. And it's also something that is a lot more cost effective in the long term versus purchasing pads for someone who doesn't have periods. And in terms of the period society, we've really grown. We're more of a platform for young people in India to make change in their communities, because all of the experiences that I just spoke about, a lot of other people have had too. It's not something that's unique to me by any means. And I was able, with a little bit of mentorship and guidance from my seniors at high school in the US who were involved in activism and social justice, to begin my nonprofit. And I just wanted to create that opportunity for other people who've kind of had similar experiences like me. So our chapter programs basically spread all over India, and it's just people kind of conducting the activities that we started off in Bombay in their own community on a regular basis. And it's been really phenomenal to see the work that our chapters are doing, and kind of combating menstrual equity in their own community. But something that I always say is that you don't have to like begin a nonprofit to take action against menstrual equity. It's as simple as starting a conversation at home. Way before I began my nonprofit at the age of 16, it was important for me to address the menstrual taboo at home. So that's what I did. I started speaking to my parents about menstruation, because my dad was especially uncomfortable talking about the issues that I had with period pain, even though he was a physician. And yeah, it was important for me to kind of normalize menstruation at home before going out in the open and encouraging other people to give up the menstrual taboo. So I feel like if you can normalize menstruation within your own home, your circle, you can make sure that people around you who don't have access to period products, you can provide those to them and advocate for them as a necessity. Then you're already making an impact, and it really doesn't have to like begin with joining a nonprofit or doing anything of that sort. Like, I think beginning that conversation is important in itself. But yeah, I think that's just my story, and I'll encourage people to put a period to the stigma by talking about menstruation in their own circle and normalizing it.
It has been nothing but inspiring so far. It's great to see how you came out and you had a conversation about it with your parents and everything. But we have a few questions for you. And
sure.
1 second. Leena, do we have you here?
Yeah, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Leena.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am. It's really a pleasure to have you right here. Ma'am, I do have a question that if now, like you said, you had a problem asking your parents, talking with them, there are a lot of girls who do talk with their parents. वो advisable करते हैं कि okay, do this, do that, everything. But most of times, जैसे आपको बोला गया था कि don't go to a festival, don't go to the kitchen. So how to normalize those between parents and between even with your friends? There are a lot of time when we talk with a male friend, we tell him that I'm on my periods. So he says, oh okay चल ठीक है, तू फिर rest कर, कोई party वगैरह में जाने. So how to normalize, because even that gets into an awkward situation. How to normalize that thing?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And also feel free to call me Swara. But in terms of, I guess, to begin with your parents, a lot of times these are like superstitions or myths that they have been handed on like from their parents, and they also like haven't received sex education, most likely because it's not a super common thing in schools in India. So try to kind of probe further by questioning why they believe that thing. So they start seeing the logical inconsistency. So my dad's a healthcare professional, and whenever I was told not to like visit the temple when I'm menstruating, or I was told that I'm impure when I'm menstruating, I'd ask my dad, like, what is it about menstruation that makes someone impure? Or like, what's the logic behind doing this? And then my mom would say something like, oh, your menstrual blood's like dirty, it makes you dirty. And then I just look at my dad and I'm like, you went through med school and you know exactly what happens in the menstrual cycle, and you know that it's just like the lining of the endometrium that's being shed every single month. So like, what part of this makes someone dirty? So I think beginning that conversation and like, asking people that, you say that when you touch a plant when you're menstruating, it'll dry out or it'll wilt. Is it something you tried yourself? Because I can do it and I can prove to you that nothing real of that sort will really happen. So I think start asking them to question their beliefs and ask them these questions that'll probe them to think rationally about all of these myths, and if needed, like, do educate them about the biology of menstruation. An overwhelming amount of people I know who follow these myths don't really know what menstrual blood is or why menstruation occurs, so it's important for them to get that refresher. In terms of your friends, yes, I know that it's a little frustrating when people think that everyone's experience with menstruation is the same, and you can't do anything while you're menstruating. And some people have severe period pain and they need to rest, and that's completely valid. But for some people, they can carry on with life as normal while they're menstruating, and it's really up to you to decide. So just thank the person for their concern, but remind them that menstruation can look different from person to person, and if you need rest or you need to take a seat back, you'll do that yourself. But otherwise, you're good to just carry on with your life as normal, and it's just a normal monthly thing that happens to everyone.
That's a really great thing to share. I'm done with my side of questions. Anyone from the side of team have?
Perfect. I think we have one more question coming in. I think the person will join the meet in 1 minute. Until then, we all you have exams. How has it been going?
It's sleep deprivation. I'm just looking forward to getting done with it. But yeah, it's part of life.
One question I personally had: what was your reason to keep on going? I understand you when you start something new, you always have that gist and energy of bringing a change, right? But later on, when you face difficulties, you just drown, you are burnt out and all. How do you keep going? Because that is very important, be it anything, starting a new organization, being someone in college or anything.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with what you said, especially with being burned out, because I'm pre-med and every single year of college, like my courses get harder and harder, and like literally every single class and like my GPA matters a lot. So it's like I'm under this constant like amount of stress. And I'd say in high school, it was easier to run my nonprofit in the sense that once I was done with college applications, or like even during that process, like I could manage my time adequately. Coursework itself wasn't hard. And like my first year of college, everything was online. So when I started taking classes in person this semester and things like got intense, I definitely say it's become hard for me. But I think what keeps me going is the fact that I genuinely care about my nonprofit, and it's not something that I started for the sake of college on my CV. So it's something that I plan to like continue as long as I see the problem exists. And I'd say like having a team really keeps me going. So this isn't like a one-person show or anything. There are like over 300 people behind the Period Society, and it's like inspiring to see other people who care about the work that you do as much. And it also like really shares the work. It's like a group collaborative effort. So I think learning how to delegate work has been easy for me, and like also training other people to step up as leaders in the org. So everything that you see happening isn't like my solo effort, but it's really a team effort. And I think for any organization to kind of sustain in the long term, you really need to have like a strong team and like several points of like leadership instead of like just one person doing everything.
That really helps, because I myself am a part of the Period Society chapter of Maharashtra. and I have a tendency of taking a lot of things on my plate and doing it. So that helps. And thank you so much.
So I wanted to ask, how was your experience when you won the Diana Awards?
Oh, that was actually like really cool. I'll say more than receiving the award, like personally, it just felt like a nice recognition of everything that's been going on at the Period Society. And I think that one was really for the team. They had like a cool leadership development program where you got to meet like other people who received the Diana Award from across India, and I connected with some really cool people, and I think it helps to sort of build that community because a lot of people who win the Diana Award are also like full-time students and face some of the challenges that I might be facing in terms of juggling this along with school and having like a relatively like young organization and growing it and scaling it. So it's, I guess, been like a really useful opportunity for me, both personally and in terms of TPS.
It was wonderful listening to your experience.
And now we have Rotagya Tanmay with this question.
Hello.
Hey.
So my question to you is, just a second. Yeah, can you listen me?
Mhm.
Okay, so my question to you is like nowadays, still for guys, I feel for many guys it's a taboo for us to discuss the period pains and the menstruation amongst us with the girls. So how do you think you can educate the guys who are not really, front forward to talk about this?
I think firstly, it's important for people to know that everything around menstruation is not just like a women's issue, like there are people across the spectrum who menstruate, and more than that, I feel like access to period products is just like a basic human right. And I know about menstruation in India, especially, it is difficult often for like guys to speak about it because a lot of our schools like segregate us according to like apparent gender when they're conducting like sex education classes. At least that's what my school did, and there was like a lot of hush hush and curiosity about what the other section learned, and I feel like that only like helps further perpetuate the taboo. So if someone's feeling awkward talking about menstruation, I guess like they might never have learned what menstruation is, and they probably only heard superstitions or heard from their friends. So I guess try to educate them just in a mature manner about what periods are, and like tell them, just really emphasize that it's a normal biological process. And I guess in terms of just being a sensitive ally to people who menstruate, if someone's in period pain or just needs like time off, I guess give that to them, or encourage them to seek professional help, because a lot of people who have severe period pain were kind of, I guess, cultural into thinking that it's something that happens every single month and you need to ignore it. When there are a lot of meds available, there's professional help to manage your period pain, and it's not something you have to go through every single month. So I think try to encourage them to see a healthcare professional if they're kind of ignoring that and it's causing them distress. And I guess more than that, with anything, even I used to feel really awkward saying the word period aloud, and now like I will say it aloud literally in front of everyone. I don't even have to think twice, and I feel like that's just happened by like compelling myself to have conversations about menstruation. So I guess try to put yourself in that space and talk about periods to people within your circle and educate them. It might feel awkward like the first couple times, but I think as time goes on, you're just going to end up doing it without thinking, and it might inspire people around you to actually start thinking about the issue. Like I think for me personally, a really great moment is whenever someone says that they saw my journey with beginning the Period Society and that inspired them to get involved with our work or do something similar in the community. So I feel like just even talking about this issue and, telling people about the consequences of the menstrual taboo is really, really important within your own circle. And I think that definitely makes an impact.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you, Swara. You sharing your journey so far has been nothing but incredible. Thank you so much for coming with us and letting us give you a platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me today. And it was actually really nice to know that you're involved with TPS Maharashtra. So I definitely look forward to connecting with you later. And yeah, I apologize for the delay again, but I loved having this conversation with all of you, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Same to you. Thank you. Moving forward, we have an address by our secretary, Dr. Riya Gupta.
Good evening, everyone, and I hope you're liking the session up till now. I think this platform of entity would have really provided you with a lot of insights. I personally liked each and every speaker. They were from different fields, starting from our very first speaker who guided us to our second speaker who was so outspoken about her journey. She was so brave that she inspired all of us to be who we are. And as a woman, we are not really, the taboo that has been created that we're not strong. We are really, really strong in ourselves. That is what she has already said, and we all as girls need to follow that. And our very third speaker who spoke about periods, it was something that has really given me a lot of beautiful insights, and I'm expecting the same, that you guys are taking a lot from the sessions. And I can see all of you on YouTube just spamming the comment section. Thank you so much for watching up till now, and I hope that you all will enjoy the session ahead as well. So yes, keep supporting, keep watching, and I am very sure that even our final speaker has a lot of things to share with us. Thank you.
Ooh. 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 यहाँ लोग अनेक पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून है। यहाँ लोग अनेक पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून। दिलों के हम है नेक, जरा आजमा के देख, एकता है उमंग और उसी का गुरूर है। छूना है आसमां चाहे रोके जहां, एक साथ हाथ थामे खड़े हम हैं एकत्र 3, 1, 4, 2। दुगना साहस दुगना जुनून, जब तक है सांसें साथ चलूं और साथ रहूं। हम हैं एकत्र 3, 1, 4, 2। दुगना साहस दुगना जुनून, दम तोड़ने तक साथ रहूं, दिन रात रहूं। यहाँ लोग अनेक पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून है। यहाँ लोग अनेक पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून। दिलों के हम है नेक, जरा आजमा के देख, एकता है उमंग और उसी का गुरूर है। छूना है आसमां चाहे रोके जहां, एक साथ हाथ थामे खड़े हम हैं एकत्र 3, 1, 4, 2। दुगना साहस दुगना जुनून, जब तक है सांसें साथ चलूं और साथ रहूं। हम हैं यहाँ लोग 3, 1 पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून है। तोड़ने तक साथ रहूं, दिन रात रहूं। यहाँ लोग अनेक पर जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून। जज्बा के हम हैं नेक, जरा आसमान जिसमें एकता है उमंग और उसी का गुरूर है। छूना है आसमां चाहे रोके जहां, एक साथ हाथ थामे खड़े हम। जज्बा है एक, रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून। दिलों के हम हैं नेक, जरा आसमां के देख, एकता है दुगना साहस और दुगना जुनून, जब तक है सांसें साथ जहां और साथ हाथ थामे खड़े हम हैं एकत्र 3, 1।
Hello. So we are waiting for our ZRR of Zone 1, Rotakta Kinshuk Mazumdar, to come and address the crowd. Till then, please stay tuned. And make sure you fill the attendance form that is pinned to the chart. Thank you. Hi, Kiksha. You're not audible even.
Hi guys.
Hello. So Kiksha, how has your experience with our entity been so far?
So basically, ever since it started, I've been watching it on YouTube. And in fact, I was actually outside for some other project with my club members. So I also made sure that all the people who were around me, they're listening to this speaker pe rakha tha, sab sun rahe the. And it was so interesting. All the speakers who came in the panel discussion and everything, it was so good. I just made sure that everyone sat down for some time and they were listening to what is happening around. The quality that you guys have put on with this entity, it's amazing. All the topics that you guys have covered, बहुत मजा आया, सच. And first minute से लेके last minute तक I've just stuck by my phone and then now my laptop listening to everything that's happening. So great work, guys. To all the CPs, to this beautiful club, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you, guys.
If you could address the crowd with few words, that would be great.
Yes, definitely. To all the people who are watching this right now from the club and from all over this district and maybe people from different countries who are watching this, entity basically next is a platform, a place where you can you get to learn a lot of things. People with the stories, their motivational stories, their idea, their view of life, and a lot of things that they share with us. It inspires us and it tells us how they have struggled through life, and at this very moment they are at a place jahan pe success is in their hands, and it is definitely not easy. Next think tank हर club में होता है, and you never know, maybe from the club you are from, maybe एक दिन तुम उस club के entity पे बैठे होंगे. Just the way the speakers are today, you'll be motivating 100 other people in the same way these guys are motivating each and every one of us. So next is always a beautiful platform for everyone, and I'm pretty sure that everyone today who has been watching this, they will be taking something back, and आगे भी बहुत सारे आएंगे. तो yes.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Kiksha. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mute कर एक मिनट. सब thanks करने के लिए.
Next think tank हर club में होता है, and you never know, maybe from the club you are from, maybe एक दिन तुम उस club के entity पे बैठे होंगे. Just the way the speakers are today, you'll be motivating 100 other people in the same way these guys are motivating each and every one of us. So next is always a beautiful platform for everyone, and I'm pretty sure that everyone today who has been watching this,
दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ये जुनून है.
pretty sure that everyone today who is watching this.
पर जज्बा है, एक रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून है। यहाँ लोग अनेक पर जज्बा है, एक रगों में दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून। दिलों के हम है नेक, जरा आजमा के देख, एकता है उमंग और उसी का गुरूर है। छूना है आसमां चाहे रोके जहां, एक साथ हाथ थामे खड़े हम है दौड़े खून जिसमें एक ही जुनून है। दुगना साहस दुगना
Hello, everyone. Now we would like to conclude our next think tank for the current year. Firstly, I would like to start with thanking everyone who has not only been a part of this journey so far, but has supported me through and through. Firstly, I would like to start with my vertical hits, Retractor Anvi, Retractor Vishal, and Retractor Reena. They have been nothing but an immense support, and they've always had my back no matter what. Any spontaneous random idea, they're always there to back me up. Thank you so much for that. Secondly, I would like to thank Retractor Kingshuk Mazumdar for coming in and addressing the crowd. Retractor Karthik and Retractor Riya, my trust like it wouldn't have been possible without you and the club behind my back. So thank you so much. Next, I would like to thank my OC and core. They have put in a lot of effort through and through, be it from a PR message to template, JPEG, anything. Really grateful to have and work with all of you on board. And the panelists, the speakers, Swara, Anamika, Sumitra, Aditya, Siona, Rutuja, Sad, and moderator, Rishabh. I would like to thank all of you. A huge thank you to our cause partner, Save Soil India. We definitely pledge to plant more trees in the future and save the soil. And lastly, a big thank you to my co-host, Cute Anushka. Thank you. Now we would like to conclude the entity. Thank you all for joining in. It was great having you. Thank you so much.